was given a C- overall rating by the Louisiana section of the American Society of Civil Engineers on their annual report card. The report evaluates 10 infrastructure categories across the state: aviation, bridges, coastal areas, dams, drinking water, levees, ports, roads, solid waste, and wastewater. By the way, none of the state's grades were above a C plus. Half of Louisiana's kindergarten through third grade students are now reading at or above their reading level, according to the Department of Education and data they released yesterday. The data came from the results of the newest beginning of year literacy screener the department conducts annually and is the second consecutive year of growth for the beginning of year screener, up 3 points from fall of last year.
Number 2.
Former Louisiana House Speaker Clay Scheck was indicted by a Baton Rouge grand jury yesterday following the disappearance of an ancient cypress board that is considered a state artifact. The board was last seen in his Gonzales legislative office. Scheck was charged with felony grand theft greater than $25,000 and malfeasance in office.
Number 1.
A man was arrested in connection with a June shooting that left a 24-year-old woman dead. That man was indicted yesterday, court records show. 18-year-old Scott Strickland being charged as a principal in the second-degree murder of Pernicia Wagner at an after-hours club along Choctaw Drive back on June 22nd. He was also indicted on 6 counts of aggravated murder. What you got, JP?
All right. Well, by a vote of 222 to 209, the House passes a funding bill that will keep the government open through January 30th.
All the way through January 30th. We got a full 2.5 months worth of government. Oh, wait. No, hang on. There's Thanksgiving and Christmas and the New Year break in between there. So, yeah.
Man.
I'm just glad it's back. Like,
yeah.
We're going to talk about it at 6:35, by the way. Got a whole lot of audio from House Speaker Mike Johnson.
All right. Yeah. Looking forward to that. Well, the dog hasn't barked. That's how Jeffrey Epstein referred to Donald Trump in a recently released email by the House Oversight Committee.
Yeah, there's a whole lot of circumstance. Well, I don't want to say circumstance. There's a whole lot of smoke, but we don't know if there's fire. Like, the dog hasn't barked. What does that mean? Does that mean that Trump could actually be innocent here? Now, there's also Epstein talking about him spending time with an underage girl or whatever. But like, wasn't every square inch of that place covered with cameras?
Right.
And if you had something that was that damning, you would have the video receipts.
You would absolutely. Like you said, we live in it. I'm sorry.
Well, yeah. Let's go back to the phrase, the dog hasn't barked.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Apparently, part of the quote is, I want you to realize that the dog hasn't barked. That the dog that hasn't barked is Trump. This is apparently from an email, a redacted victim's name. That's literally how it reads. Yeah. Spent hours at my house with him. He has never once been mentioned. So I don't know. What is this?
Yeah.
Metaphor for, I guess Trump being the dog hasn't barked. But really, if you do have the evidence.
That he hasn't barked, does it mean he hasn't actually cross that line into the realm of those who have had sex with minors, or like, I don't know, there's just so much still to unpack from all this.
And like you said, we live in a day and age where just, hey, show receipts, right?
Yeah.
The evidence is, if the evidence
there
is
would be evidence.
Show it.
There would be evidence. Yeah.
And keeping it with dogs, Brian.
Mm-hmm.
You've heard the phrase dog bites man. Well, how about a dog shoots man? A man in Berks County, Pennsylvania, has been rushed to the hospital Tuesday night when his dog caused his shotgun to fire and hit him in the back.
That is incredible. So he was cleaning the gun? Is that how this was working?
He was cleaning the gun.
He was cleaning the gun. And
why was it loaded? Why are you cleaning
While you're cleaning it? No clue. No clue. That's bad form from the start.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Just
should know better than that.
I know. When the dog's ready to go for a walk, you take him for a walk, or there will be consequences.
There will be consequences indeed.
Take him to a walk at maybe a rec park. You got a couple dog parks.
There you go.
Right.
Love the segue.
611 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Give me a quick second to tell you about the folks over at Breck. Yeah, there actually are a number of dog parks around town and a number of other facilities as well. In fact, if you hop on breck.org, you can find all the facilities. Go ahead and look up what you're interested in, and they'll pair you with it. They got the little search bar right there at the top. Whatever it is you're interested in, no matter whether you're into flying remote control planes, They can help you out there. If you're into archery, they can help you out there. Equestrian, horses, they can help you out there. Look, whatever it is you're into, Breck has got you covered. And they've got facilities all over the city parish, all over East Baton Rouge Parish. So start at Breck.org. Find a little bit about what you love. Get on out there and just do something fun with Breck. And oh, by the way, camps over the holidays for the kids, they're open right now and taking registrations. Learn more at Breck.org. Sports is next.
Good morning, Facebook crew. Had a bit of a rough morning this morning starting the show, but we got it under control. Just a few technical difficulties we had to work out real quick that we couldn't tell were problems until the show started, unfortunately. So, all right. Thank y'all for sticking around. Let's see.
No, it doesn't. Yeah. Hey, basketball highlights. I know what 2.1. 3.1 and 4.2. Cool. No. Yeah, those are for later. You have multi. Do you have multi cuts here? Look at the bottom of the list of highlights. .615 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. LSU women were on the hardwood last night at the Maravich Assembly Center, and boy, oh boy, it was another show. They had the Charlotte 49ers in last night and absolutely housed them. 117-59, your final score there. Got a couple highlights for you, but let's start with some audio from Kim Mulkey after the game. One of the things that I'm loving about this team very early on is the depth and Mulkey and Coach Mulkey's willingness to utilize said depth. Early in the second quarter, well, was it in the second quarter? Yeah, I'm sorry. Midway through the first quarter, all 5 players changed out. And she went with 5 new ones. That's kind of new for LSU to just go with a complete changing of the guard like that. And the second team came in and just shut down Charlotte. And then when the first team came back into the second quarter to start things off, you had what was as close to a flawless performance as you can get.
What was it? The second quarter, they didn't even score a field goal. So I don't know. That has to be a record, right? You can't do any better than that, right? So I just thought our kids were fired up, and we're going to have tomorrow off. They hadn't had off in a while, so it'll be a good rest day for them. I just thought that I got a lot of weapons. I got a lot of weapons offensively. I don't hesitate to use them, and yeah, we focused on rebounding. They have a kid that Nicholson leading the country in offensive rebounds, and we only allowed her to have 4 tonight, and so that's big for us. So another W. Thank you to the crowd. Thank you to the students, and go back to work on Friday.
Keeping it with Coach Bulkey in the post-game interview right there. Talking about that depth, it's not just on the defensive side of the ball, offensively as well. You've got multiple girls putting the ball in the basket.
Well, you got 6 or 7 again in double figures, and you're going to beat a lot of teams. But let's just keep working defensively. This team shouldn't have scored 59 points, honestly. But when you play a lot of people, that happens. And I thought we got a little bit sloppy late in the game, but everybody got enough minutes to work up a sweat, and now we move on and get ready for Tulane.
Malaysia Fulwiley led the team in scoring with 22 points, and she was on fire behind the three-point line from really wherever she was shooting. 2.1.
Gilbert will get it free throw line. Zakiya Johnson bobbles, picks it up at the free throw line, back at the top to Gilbert. Deep left side, Fulwiley. She'll try her luck from the left side and hit it.
Hey, right side, left side, any side is good side.
25 more feet from Fulwiley. She's 4 for 4, and it's 50-13.
Oh,
these are deep threes.
Deep threes. And yes, she was hitting from everywhere last night. Malaysia Fulwiley had 22 points on the night in just 16 minutes of play. From the three-point range, she was 5 of 6. Not too shabby. Also in double figures last night, Kate Koval had 10. Zakiya Johnson had 10. Michaela Williams had 18. Flaugier had 16. Grace Knox had 10. Amaya Joyner had 15. I got 1 or 2. Do we have time for another highlight? Real quick. We got 20 seconds. All right, go ahead. Let's hear Michaela Williams hit a jumper.
Gets it out to Best. Best dribbles inside the arc. We'll get it right wing for Anderson's 3. It's no good. Richard the rebound. She's on the move into the front court. Finds Williams on the wing. Dribbles in. 10-footer. Williams is good.
I like that stop and pop.
That is WNBA level stuff that I think we'll see Michaela doing on that level
and
one of these
she's
days.
Not the only one from that roster going to be playing on the next level. Here's the Fox Business Report. What? No. I've got them. Thank you for that. Yeah. No, the Wilson ones I move over from Musso's folder. So these I went and grabbed myself. So I've got a whole rundown. Oh. What the hell is this? Let's go ahead and head back to the traffic center real quick and see what we've got going on to start off your Thursday morning. A lot better than yesterday morning, to be sure, except on I-12. I-12 westbound coming in from Denham Springs is pretty rough going all the way from before Denham. You're going to start to find some congestion up through, looks like when you get past that, getting past Airline, it really slows down pretty bad right there. Picks back up again right before the 10-12 merge. That is the only spot on the interstate, so is that 12 westbound that's kind of rough right now, and it's not enough to make you want to change your route. Just going to add a couple minutes to your drive in. 10 westbound coming in from Ascension Parish looks great, as does 10 eastbound coming in from West Baton Rouge Parish, as well as I-110. Surface streets, couple of accidents to look out for here. First of all, Airline at Old Hammond, there's an accident being worked right now from about 10 minutes ago. There's also one Jefferson at Stumberg from about 10 minutes before that. Rolling it back for an hour before, rolling it back to an hour ago, there was an accident on 110 southbound at Evangeline. It looks like that's not causing us any problems, but it's still on the board. So just want to make you aware of it in case it's still out there. That's your look at traffic from the Talk 107.3 Traffic Center. "40 years ago, 624 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. 40 years ago, Dwight Gooden, for the New York Mets, comes out, wins the Rookie of the Year one year, and then the Cy Young the next. Not since then has it happened until last night. Former LSU Tiger, now Pittsburgh Pirate Paul Skeens, he's done it. Unanimous choice for the National League Cy Young Award on Wednesday night, becoming the first pitcher in 40 years to win Rookie of the Year one season and baseball's top pitching prize the next. New York Mets Dwight Gooden, like I said, was the last one. The 23-year-old Skeens, I'm reading this from NOLA.com or The Advocate, selected first overall by the Pirates at 2023 amateur draft after a standout career at Air Force and LSU, including leading the Tigers to a 2023 College World Series championship, was a marvel for the last place Pirates, leading the majors in ERA with a 1.97 ERA, while striking out 216 batters in 187 and a third innings during his first full season in the big leagues. Ridiculous numbers for Paul Skeens. That being said, his overall record was 10-10. I mean, it is borderline criminal what the Pittsburgh Pirates are doing to Paul Skeens. Guy can go out, give up one run, and lose 1-0. I mean, brutal, absolutely brutal. By the way, like I said, Dwight Gooden was the last one to do that. He did it in 1984 and 1985, Rookie of the Year, and then Cy Young, respectively, and then went on to win the World Series the next year with the Mets. So, I don't know. Pittsburgh would have to completely flip things upside down in order to do that. If I'm remembering right, the Mets finished second in their division in 85. Yeah, Pirates have a long way to go. So I wouldn't look for history to repeat itself twice on that front. But we'll take the once because it's our own Paul Skeens. Moving over from baseball to football, and yes, this is another day where the sports bleeds over into a second segment. It's just so much going on. It's that crossover time, y'all, with basketball is in full swing. By the way, LSU men play tonight. That'll be on our sister station, Eagle 98.1. I'll have a little more for you on that in just a second. First, though, let's move over to football. Frank Wilson was on the SEC coaches teleconference yesterday. He had a lot to say about. I tell you what, before we get to this weekend's opponent, let's do a little housekeeping inside. Whit Weeks, what's his deal?
Whit was at practice yesterday. He moved around. He'll move around again today, and we'll see. We'll see how he holds up. Today is our Grit Wednesday, so it's a little more taxing than earlier in the week. It'll be a lot less going at Thursday and Friday preparation. So today's a pivotal day for him in his practice to see how his body holds up.
Okay, good to know. Good to know. Meanwhile, we haven't seen out of Garrett Nussmeier what we've expected to see this year. Cut 10, if you would. What's wrong with old Nuss?
Garrett is not individually or isolated of someone who's gone sideways. I think that we have not done the things necessarily best for us as an offense in a multitude of ways. And he's just one of many that have not played up to their desire or their want to. And that's at every position, whether it's the receivers, the tight end, the offensive line, the running backs. Collectively, we need to continue to strive to do the things necessary to have success. And so there's a tremendous want to. He does some really good things. And there are other things that we need to continue to build on and build around him to have the success that we need both quarterbacks to play well in this game.
Side note, we're going to pause right here real quick. I've been trying to figure out all week who Frank Wilson sounds like. And it took till yesterday. Yesterday after the show, I figured it out. He's Les Miles. Pay attention when he talks. You're going to hear the same phrases you heard when Les Miles was here. You heard the phrase want to twice right there. You heard the phrase want to twice right there. You're going to hear things like attaining or achieving victory or attaining victory. There's going to be little phrases throughout. And I went back and dug through the entire Monday press conference to put this all together. And like a light, it went off. I'm like, oh my goodness, he's Les Miles. Give that a listen. And as the season wears on, we have nothing to play for. So just, if you're looking for something to pay attention to, maybe pull little nuggets out there and just enjoy that. Frank Wilson is the new Les Miles. So that's what's going on with Nuss. Meanwhile, you've got Michael Van Buren in his backup. Has there been any consideration of sitting Van Buren so that he would get a red shirt? Cut 3.
And Michael's no different than the rest of them. If he can come in and contribute and help us to win, it's something he wants to do. It's something that we want him to do because we think he has tremendous value to us.
All right, now to this opponent, this week's opponent, since Frank Wilson's playing the Les Miles role, what are we looking at for Arkansas? Cut 1.
A big one ahead of us as we prepare to go back into Tiger Stadium against a very worthy opponent that year in and year out has given us their very best, and don't expect anything differently this week. 11:45 is not a usual kickoff time for us, and so we'll have to get our juices flowing early in the morning. We'll do some things from a program standpoint that alerts us and get us going early so that we could be at our very best against probably one of the more dangerous quarterbacks in the conference, if not the country, when it comes to run pass threat, a team that's ranked 8th in the country in overall offense that certainly has our attention and that are very dangerous, that can score and have scored routinely on opponents. So we start this
11:45 kickoff on Eagle 98.1. Here's news. Mhm. Hello. Just read the script, boss. I just no, it's just I'm I'm not being hard on myself. It's just what's on the script. It's like that's so not like that's not how I talk. Hello. Hello. Hello there. Hello. Good morning, Christy. Welcome in, Boo. 636 Talk 1073 FM WBRP mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. We got a lot of ground to cover in this segment. Chris Matthews in our next segment. The former host of or the host of the former show. What's the proper the former host of Hardball. It was the show's gone. I mean, Chris Matthews was hosted Hardball for years. I believe it wrapped up in 2020. Anyway, he's writing books now, and he's got one out about Robert F. Kennedy, not RFK Jr., the old school RFK, and it's a fascinating book, really good stuff. Lessons from Bobby, why Robert F. Kennedy is still relevant today. Got to pick his brain about the book and about the governmental shutdown yesterday. We'll have that for you coming up at 6:52. Right now, though, the governmental shutdown is obviously number one story of the day, or the government reopening is the number one story of the day. And we've got a ton of audio from House Speaker Mike Johnson, of course, Louisiana's own Mike Johnson. We're going to hear from him in just a little bit. But I do want to start off with a headline that's not a story. No, that's not a headline. I want to start off with a story that's not a story yet, but it's about to be. And I promise to be disciplined here and not go off on a total rant and soapbox and whatnot. But we're going to start having some conversations, some real conversations about carbon sequestration, because we're about to be left in the dust, y'all. We're about to get our butts whooped by Texas once again. I'm ready for it. I'm ready for it. I'm ready to just say, go ahead, move next door, everybody. Move next door. We saw it in the 80s in the oil industry. We're going to see it again when it comes to carbon sequestration. Yesterday, the EPA granted the state of Texas primacy to protect underground water resources. The story from EPA.gov. The U.S. Environmental Protection Agency announced a final rule approving the state of Texas's request to administer permitting for Class 6 underground injection wells under the Safe Drinking Water Act. With this approval, Texas will implement underground injection control programs covering all well types, classes 1 through 6, allowing better coordination and improved efficiencies. This action recognizes that Texas is best positioned to protect its underground resources of drinking water while bolstering economic growth and energy dominance. It supports the EPA's Powering the Great American Comeback Initiative, which prioritizes clean and safe water for Americans, restoring American energy dominance, and advancing cooperative federalism. The story goes on from there, but I'm going to pause on it just to say this. Texas is about to clean our clock when it comes to carbon sequestration, and I'm not worried about putting CO2 under the ground. I'm worried about all the peripheral jobs that get tacked onto it. I'm worried about us getting so hung up in the language of the Green New Deal and we're so busy calling this a scam that we're going to miss out on all the jobs that come along with it and all the economic prosperity that comes along with it. I would not be shocked that if in 10 years' time, Texas has a second Baytown. And we just look to the West and wonder why they always get it right and we always get it wrong when we have the chance to get it right. Tommy Fauché from the Louisiana Mid-Continent Oil and Gas Association is going to join us either tomorrow or Monday. I'm not sure which just yet, but we'll have him on. We're going to start lining up a full slate of guests to talk about this because it's all systems go over there, and it's Chicken Little, the sky is falling over here. Give me just a quick second to tell you about the folks over at Vex European. VexEuropean.com is the website. 225-800-4706 if you want to give them a phone call and set up an appointment. 800-4706. Honestly, I go to VexEuropean.com and hit the little appointments tab. It's right there on the homepage, and it makes things so simple. In fact, I need to find a window on my schedule to get over there sooner rather than later. Because as soon as the weather got cold, I found out I had a squeaky belt. Can't live with a squeaky belt, y'all, because you know something's coming after that. I got to get it over to Vex European and make sure everything's right underneath my hood. They service European vehicles specifically. Hit the little vehicles tab on the website. Hit the little drop down right there. If you see your vehicle on there, you're going to get a specialist, an expert when it comes to your make of vehicle. Whether you're talking about a Mercedes or a BMW, whether you're talking about an Audi or a Jaguar, whether you're talking about a Porsche or a McLaren, and a whole lot in between. Check them out at VexEuropean.com. So our government's back open again. That's a good thing. The House gavelled in yesterday. Speaker Mike Johnson had some things to say before the vote to move things forward and get the government back up and running, and a few things to say after the vote to get things back up and running. Let's start with before the vote. I did this for you, JP. They're all sequential. Don't worry about it. You give me this side eye like I'm gonna hit you with by surprise.
I'm just on my toes.
I know. I'm just saying. I'm ready. I took care of it.
I appreciate it.
I took care of it. This
You're
is
the man.
what I do at 11 o'clock at night.
Ooh,
yeah. Let's start off with Speaker Johnson before the vote. Just kind of setting the table for what got us to where we are.
House Democrats voted to shut the government down. It was 54 days ago when we had that vote, September 19th. And since that time, Senate Democrats have voted 14 times to close the government. Republicans voted a collective 15 times to open the government for the people, and the Democrats voted that many times to close it.
Well, yes and no. I mean, they didn't vote to close it over and over again. They just would not vote to reopen it, leaning on health care or the Affordable Care Act or everything there for Obamacare as a hill they were willing to die on for more than a month. So it's not like it was as simple as open or closed. It was, is this one thing more important than all the other things? And to a lot of Democrats, that one thing with the Affordable Care Act was more important than all the other things. And we did this little exercise about a week into the shutdown. and I'm gonna run through it again. JP, you gonna eat today?
Yeah, I'm planning on it.
Okay. All right. You're already at work, so I don't have to ask you if you're
Right.
going to work today.
Right.
All right. But you're at work. You're going to eat.
Yes.
Okay. You getting your bills paid today?
Of course.
Okay. Are you going to the doctor today?
No.
Okay. Okay. So all those other things that in this moment,
Yes.
all those other things are more important to you than going to the doctor.
I mean,
In this moment.
in this moment.
In this moment.
In this moment.
Right. I understand there are contingencies there, and we don't want to leave healthcare ignored, but at the same time, all the things are more important than the one thing. Now, if that's a hill you're willing to die on, fine. But if you're using all the folks that rely on the Affordable Care Act as pawns, well, that's something else altogether.
They admitted that they were using the American people as leverage in this political game. They knew that it would cause pain, and they did it anyway. The whole exercise was pointless. It was wrong, and it was cruel.
All right, well, then let's get it on. Let's get it to a vote.
We need to get this government open as soon as possible, and I'm going to yield back the remainder of my time so we can do that. The American people demand it and deserve it. My friends, let's get this done.
And they did. They did. The excitement in his voice, I really enjoyed. But, oh, by the way, just as an aside, there are times where we can be incredibly frustrated with our government, and then there are times where we can hear from members of our government to be reminded, and I know this is the wrong time to be giving this talk, but there are those who are there to serve, like genuinely there to serve. And when you hear the excitement in Mike Johnson's voice to get the government back up and running again, I think that kind of peels back a layer of the onion as to what his purpose is and what his mission is. Now, back to Mike Johnson, and I hate to go right back down to the playing politics role, but after the vote, he reiterated his comments about using you and me as pawns.
The Democrats openly admitted, many of them said it in their own words, that they use the American people as leverage in this political game.
Frustrating, I know. But when you watch how things played out after this, and history is going to bear this out as well, when you watch how things played through this whole thing, and they got to the end of the government shutdown, from the beginning of the government shutdown to the end of the government shutdown, and nothing changed. So it's back up and running now, but a lot of people have been hurt along the way.
They knew that it would cause that pain to the people, and they did it anyway. They did it for their own selfish purposes, their political purposes, and it was a game they played with real people's lives. It's something that is very difficult to forgive.
But you kind of need to, because you have to start talking now, because healthcare is going to be first and foremost, right? Finding a middle ground there, finding a way to get this done. We heard from Senator Cassidy on it yesterday, who had some great ideas. One more from Mike Johnson talking about putting healthcare first.
The first order of business was to get the government open and working for the people again. It's the most basic responsibility, and we finally got that done tonight. And I said, as soon as the government was open, we would turn our attention to healthcare and all the other issues that are out there.
And now you're on the clock. I mean, now the onus is on the right to make sure that they're listening. And, well, at the same time, the left, not to say that Obamacare is the only way to do things. So we will keep an eye on it. Quick break. Your Money Now is next. Now, the fun part is let's see who writes stories about carbon sequestration today. I might bring it up again later on in the show, just to, give everyone else a second chance to catch up. Sorry. That was an egotistical dick right there. Oh, I lost my promo sheet. Where's your money now? Bro. I'll tell you exactly what happened. You still had the opener of the show in the back of your mind. Do what? No, that's I'm not a super sleuth, but it's pretty obvious you were still thinking about what went wrong there.
Yeah,
So
I do. I get stuck in my own head with
look,
that.
that's the basketball coach.
It's
Stop thinking about the last mistake.
Yeah.
Make the same mistake next time down the court.
That's it.
That's not. That's.
Just
I'm not Sigmund Freud over here.
yo.
Did you listen to the beginning of that interview?
Yep.
Okay.
Why? Where you? What?
Is it clean? Does it come right back in clean?
Yeah.
Okay.
I talked to. Yeah, I usually try to listen to like the beginning and stuff just to make sure it.
Okay. Well, then I can go get my promo.
Oh yeah. All right, Facebook crew. I don't know. I don't remember if Brian mentioned it or not. I've been kind of in my own head over here, but yeah, the next interview is pre-recorded with Chris Matthews.
As Congress gets back to work in Washington, we're happy to welcome to the show you know him from Hardball, but you also know him because he's got a new book out called Lessons from Bobby, 10 Reasons Robert F. Kennedy Still Matters. Chris Matthews, how are you, man?
I'm great. I spent a bunch of months down there in Baker, Louisiana, in Peace Corps training right near Baton Rouge.
Oh, no. So Baker, right up 110 from us over here. How'd you like it?
I liked it because everybody's in a good mood. We're heading off to Africa for 2 years to teach. I was going to teach business over there on my motorcycle, and I say it was youth. It was youth. It was great. It was all about positive. You're going somewhere.
Got to get you back down here, man. With fun stuff. Kind of get a little before and after picture of Baton Rouge. Let's talk a little bit about before we get to Lessons from Bobby. Just your overall takeaways from what has transpired over the last 45 to 50 days in Washington D.C.
Well, I hate to be. I don't want to get into intramurals, but I don't think the Democrats made the right move with going after health care. Health care is something they care about. But what you care about is not the same about It's not the same as your opponent's vulnerability. The Republicans don't care about Obamacare. They never liked Obama. Didn't like Obamacare. John McCain voted for Obamacare, and they hate him for it. And he's a war hero and everything else, but they didn't like him for it. And so they think that John Thune's going to give in on this one. They made a mistake. Thune would be keeping that government shut down till after New Year's, and then on, and then on and on and on. Would never stop. And the left is wrong in thinking they're going to buckle. To think the Republicans are going to buckle and vote for health care is wrong. It's not going to happen.
Hey, at least not in its current form. I mean, are there ideas out there you think are, applicable?
Well, yeah, there's food stamps and air traffic controllers and things that are going to blow up on people, whether it's malnutrition or plane crashing. I mean, anybody who thinks about how air traffic is very safe, obviously, compared to other things. But let me tell you, something over Thanksgiving and anywhere in America where there's a plane crash, it'll be blamed whoever Trump wants to point the finger. It's just going to be there. And you can say all you want now about how gutsy you are if you're Bernie Sanders and all. But in the end, you're going to be blamed. That's what the trouble was.
This is actually the perfect segue. The book's called Lessons from Bobby, 10 Reasons Robert F. Kennedy Still Matters. And if you want to talk about, in his time, moral leadership, political bravery, I think it was done differently back then. Tell us about the book.
Well, it's about guts. I mean, I think the fact that you had people, black faces along the train tracks when he died back in '68 and he shot dead he had just won the California primary, and they were singing the Battle Hymn of the Republic, 20,000 strong singing that, and then the white faces of the white working class along the train, devoted to him, saluting him. A lot of them, I guess, had been enlisted guys with their families in birth order. Geez, the pictures are amazing. I think a lot of people respected the fact that he was a tough liberal. He was for law and order, an Irish cop in a way, but he was really for liberal rights. The SEC, look at the football teams today. They are integrated. The schools, they are academically integrated. All those schools, all of them at Texas A&M, every one of them. And he, in Ole Miss, and he had to go to war with those governors. Governor Ross Barnett, he said that boy, I use the word boy, is not going to go to Ole Miss. Well, they got a statue of him, James Meredith, right there on the campus in Oxford now. And he fought with George Wallace at the University of Alabama, and he won. I mean, he's the guy that did that.
And he was on so many different fronts, not just when it came to civil rights and race in America, but on organized crime as well.
Look, you don't want to have the enemies that he picked up. I mean, he had Giancana. He would put. It was like On the Waterfront, the movie. He would hang people on hooks. There's a guy. The Torch was one of his bad guys. They would disfigure a good reporter reporting on labor news. The Dreister. He was taking on really ferocious people, and LBJ and he were not best friends. He was not afraid to face and he went to some people legitimately angry, people who were African American in Indianapolis the night that Dr. King was killed, and he stood in front of that crowd and announced to them, a white guy has just killed your hero. He had to tell them that. I checked it on the mics. He had asked the guy, his host, do they know yet? And in these days before cell phones or anything like it, or social media, nobody knew. And he had to tell them. And he said, my brother was killed by a white guy, which I thought was an odd thing to say, but it was his way of connecting. And it was extraordinary. He had never said it before, never said it again about his brother being killed. And he did. He had guts.
Got Chris Matthews for another minute or two. Want to rewind the clock. What made you want to write this book?
Well, you want the blunt answer?
Yeah.
I got a call from Simon & Schuster where I'd written a book that sold 250,000 copies on Bobby Kennedy. And they said, we want another one and for the 100th anniversary of his birth. And I went to work. I've been written a lot of books, and I wanted to be able to write this one.
Most surprising thing you learned.
I think it is in tune with the time.
There's a lot of parallels. Absolutely. Most surprising thing that you learned along the way about Bobby Kennedy that you didn't know.
Oh my God. Well, just this thing. When he did the good stuff, like integrating these southern schools, and he came out and said, this is a line you're not going to hear anywhere else. He said, before I was Attorney General, which he got appointed to at 35, he said, I did not lose a lot of sleep over African Americans. In fact, he said over Negroes, the term of art in those days, before Jesse Jackson created the African Americans as a term. And he said, I didn't lose a lot of sleep over it. He admitted that he had learned about the problem of civil rights on the job when his top guy had been beaten up, had his head smashed in, John Siegenthaler, down in Montgomery during the Freedom Rides. So he learned a lot on the job.
The book is called Lessons from Bobby, 10 Reasons Robert F. Kennedy Still Matters. The author is Chris Matthews. It's on the holiday required reading list. I recommend everybody go get it. Chris, thank you for a couple minutes this morning.
Thank you so much for this.
Good stuff from Chris Matthews. And yeah, the book is called Lessons from Bobby. I admittedly have not finished it. When I book these interviews out, I don't have enough time to finish before the interview happens, but I will say this is one that I'm actually going to finish. That whittles down quickly. Yeah, lessons from Bobby. 10 reasons Robert F. Kennedy still matters. Really, really great stuff. And I appreciate Chris Matthews' time right there. We got news coming your way in a little bit. 7 o'clock hour will include Councilwoman Laurie White Adams. It will also include Crimestoppers. Before we get you to the top of the hour news. Oh, no, we're at the top of the hour news. Yeah, I'm looking at the wrong clock. Look up at JP. He gives me the 10-second sign. So let's break it right here. Coming back after ABC News on Talk 107.3. 7:05, Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. Hour 2 coming your way right now. Brian here with you. JP producing. We're starting off your second hour at 52 degrees in downtown Baton Rouge. Broadcasting live from the 180 Pros studio right here off Government Street. We've got a busy hour for you. We're going to talk about the budget in our next segment. Councilwoman Laurie White Adams is in the studio this morning. Also, this hour, we've got Crimestoppers coming your way. Don Capola actually going to be on the hotline this morning because he is stuck in traffic. Next hour, Dr. Mike Strain's in the house, and I'm looking forward to that because we always are. It's the segment with Dr. Strain started off as a 10-minute segment. Now he is the entire 8 o'clock hour. So we call it Farm to Studio. We do it once a month. It'll be coming up 1 hour from right now. Right now, though, we've got the top stories and trending.
Number 5.
Man arrested in connection with a June shooting that left a 24-year-old woman dead was indicted yesterday. 18-year-old Scott Strickland being charged as a principal in the second-degree murder of Pernisha Wagner at an after-hours club along Choctaw Drive back on June 22nd. He was also indicted on 6 counts of attempted murder. Wagner was killed after a fight broke out between two groups at the club after a trail ride after party.
Number 4.
Metro Council approved a resolution Wednesday that would give a rebate on ticket sales and concessions at 2 2026 Tiger Stadium concerts in an effort to have 2 prominent music artists perform. The resolution has the tax rebate relayed to promoters and artists performing on March 28th and May 23rd, though due to non-disclosure agreements in the contracts, we don't yet know who the artists are.
Number 3.
Louisiana's infrastructure was given a C- overall rating by the Louisiana section of the American Society of Civil Engineers on its annual report card. The report evaluates 10 infrastructure categories across, and it's up for the second year in a row, up 3 points from fall of 2024.
Number 1.
Former Louisiana House Speaker Clay Scheck-Snyder was indicted by a Baton Rouge grand jury yesterday following the disappearance of an ancient cypress board that is considered a state artifact. The board was last seen in his Gonzales legislative office. Scheck-Snyder was charged with felony grand theft greater than $25,000 and malfeasance in office. I refuse to believe that there's not a simple explanation for this Cypress thing. It's this Clay Scheck-Snyder story. Maybe called him. There's got to be like an unbelievably simple explanation here. I don't know.
Oh, man.
Yeah. What you got? What's trending?
Well, by a vote of 222 to 209, the House passes a funding bill that will keep the government open through, get this, January 30th.
January 30th. We have 2.5 months to get something done, something in for a longer period of time. The healthcare is going to be at the crux of this debate over the next, we say 2.5 months, JP.
Yeah.
But we are 2 weeks from Thanksgiving. That's going to be some time off. And then we're, a month and a week away from Christmas. And then the new year. Like there's going to be time off in between there where that 2.5 months very, very quickly becomes a month,
That's right.
Yeah.
We'll see. Well, the dog that hasn't barked. That's how Jeffrey Epstein referred to Donald Trump in a recently released email by the House Oversight Committee.
I don't know what that means.
What does he mean?
What does it mean? The dog that hasn't barked. Don't speak in code, man. The dog that hasn't barked.
I've read into this, and I
still
really
don't know. It's infuriating.
It is.
Does that mean that like he hasn't partaken in the actual illegal acts? Is that what it means by he hasn't barked, or does it mean like he's not talking about it?
Exactly. And you made a really good point. Is that the island is littered with cameras, right?
Yeah.
I mean, there's
like everything about Jeffrey Epstein's like, yeah. I mean, if he's going to get people in his back pocket, he's got to get them on film.
Yeah.
Picture it didn't happen.
Apparently, there was a alleged victim that Epstein is saying that Trump spent hours with at his house, but
well,
but that's all just hearsay at this point.
We
need some substantial evidence here. We need receipts, as you say.
Yeah, picture it didn't happen. That's where I'm at.
That's right. Speaking of dogs, you've heard the phrase "dog bites man." Well, how about dog shoots man? A man in Berks County, Pennsylvania, has been rushed to the hospital Tuesday when his dog caused his shotgun to fire and hit him in the back. Apparently, the dog was a Scrappy Doo.
The Shooting happened late
That's-
Tuesday night. Do I?
It's terrible
Yeah.
because we don't know the status of this gentleman.
Right. Well, yeah. So he was cleaning the shotgun and it went off. He was cleaning a loaded shotgun.
I know, and I don't want to sound insensitive, but that's silly, right? Why would you do that?
No, and then why would you argue with your dog in the middle of it and be like, because the dog's like, yeah, don't clean your shotgun while it's loaded. And the guy's like, no, I'm fine. He's like, no, I'm gonna show you you're not.
I feel like
and then the
this
dog shoots him.
That's right.
He did it on purpose. Very
I feel like
vengeful dog.
He's been plotting this for a while.
Yeah.
This seems premeditated. He was waiting for his opportunity and he struck. But in all seriousness, it really depends on the shot, right? Because if it's buckshot, birdshot,
but that is going to make a huge.
It's going to make a big difference.
Also, though, I don't want a frame by frame instant replay of this, but he's cleaning a loaded shotgun with his dog and gets shot in the back.
And the gun's on the bed, apparently.
Right.
That's as I'm reading into this.
So many layers to the story that don't add up.
I'm gonna, for the sake of sounding insensitive,
he laid the shotgun down on the bed. The dog jumped up and caused the gun to fire.
Yeah, I mean, Paul got right in there, in the trigger bed, and
dog's a good shot though. It's
pretty precise.
Assuming the dog intended to hit him, which I think he did.
Oh, absolutely.
There's no way this dog wasn't going after this guy.
You know what? Maybe the dog was abused, Brian.
Could be.
Maybe it was. This
Could
was
be
his chance. Like,
yeah.
You know what?
Sick of the dry food. Sick of the dry food.
That's it.
Yeah. I'm here for it, man. 712 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. We got to move on from this so fast. FlyBTR.com is our airport's home base online. I have a fantastic airport right here in Baton Rouge. In fact, I've booked my flight to Washington Mardi Gras through FlyBTR.com. There's a direct flight daily to Washington, D.C. In fact, it's leaving right about now and comes home the same evening. Look, as the government shutdown has worn on and things have gotten sideways at airports all around the country, and we've seen flight cancellations, there has been, thus far, literally one flight a day out of BTR that's been problematic. It's the flight to Atlanta, which that makes sense, right? And if you're on flybtr.com, you get a full list of all the flights, arrivals, and departures every day and what their status is. So you know ahead of time what you're looking at. They take care of you at the Baton Rouge Metro Airport. Look, I can't stress enough how important it is to utilize a local business, especially one that does their job as well as the Baton Rouge Metro Airport does. Learn more at flybtr.com. Oh. Me and Moon about to have words. Carbon sequestration. Yeah, very much against it. Calls it a Green New Deal scam. Meanwhile, Texas is all in. And they just got, this isn't a story yet, but it will be. Where's Tommy? There's Tommy. I could not care less who believes that carbon offsets will help the environment. What I do care about is all the companies that do believe in that. I want their money. I want their jobs. Right. Yeah. I understand. It shouldn't be, though. Everything that's negative about carbon is complete misinformation. The number of people who believe that CO2 could explode. CO2 is post-combustible. If CO2 were flammable, think about this. If CO2 were flammable, we couldn't blow out candles. Just that simple. (7:16) Talk 107.3 FM WBRP mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. I promised we'd be digging into the budget, the city parish budget, at every window that we could. We're doing exactly that. Councilwoman Laurie White Adams in studio to talk about it. How are you this morning?
I'm great. I'm a little tired. It was a late night last night.
Was it now?
It was. We went long. We went long.
Any
Yeah.
highlights that you could share with me this morning?
I mean, sure. Exciting to see us be able to, endorse those rebates. They're rebates. They're not tax dollars that are going into those concerts. But if those concerts happen and the funds are there, then those promoters will get a rebate on that. But it'd be tremendous economic impact.
March 28th and May 23rd, I believe, is what the two dates were.
Right. Yeah.
Okay,
exciting.
so now all the contracts with the with the promoters and with the musicians themselves and with Tiger Stadium, they've all got these huge non-disclosure agreements within the contract, right? Okay,
absolutely. Yes.
So what we need to do is start randomly picking artists and looking at their tour dates.
Oh, people have been doing that already.
So that's if we're going to find it, that's where they're going to have it.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
Yeah,
so
that's the first place we're going to learn is there.
I understand in a few weeks we'll know whether we were competitive with what our package was or not. That's my understanding.
Okay.
So we'll find out.
Okay.
Maybe in time for people to buy Christmas gifts. I don't know. I mean, wouldn't that be nice?
Great.
I have no knowledge. Please don't anybody
understood.
Start, but that'd be really cool.
But I mean, these are like, if they're booking Tiger Stadium, we're talking of the
the
Garth Brooks level, the Taylor Swift level. Those are the two biggies from So you're thinking big. You're not thinking like when the Rat Pack tribute plays at the Silver Slipper. I mean, this is not that.
It's not the First Presbyterian Church choir.
And that's not a slight to the First Presbyterian.
I'm in that choir. We're a good choir.
Yeah,
we're a good choir, but we couldn't fill Tiger Stadium.
Right. All right, budget. Let's get down to it. Oh wait, anything else from the meeting last night that really?
Sure. The majority of the time was that we spent last night was on the Plank Road Economic Development District.
Mm-hmm.
It was ultimately deferred.
Okay.
For 2 weeks. Just people need more information. Maybe you need to make some structural change. We're working through it. We're working through it.
Cool. I know. Councilman Hurst has put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into that.
He's put a lot of time, and we know North Baton Rouge. There are places that need help.
Well, you and I were talking about during the break. All of Baton Rouge doesn't succeed until North Baton Rouge succeeds.
Brian, yes, amen. That's so true, right? We're one community. Right. We are one community.
So, yeah. All right, budget time. How much have you been able to unpack so far?
So it's been busy. Normally, you're looking for where funds have increased and where they've decreased. This year, I'm just studying how much funding has decreased.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a hard budget. And I have to tell you, I went and early voted on Saturday, and I walked into that booth 4 times before, and my name has been on the ballot. And you'd think that you'd get a pit in your stomach when you see your name. I have never felt as much angst as I did when I went in Saturday to the early voting booth. I looked at those. Normally it's just my name. Like, right, if I win or lose, whatever, it's just on me.
Right.
But I was sitting there looking at these proposals and feeling like, if these don't pass, it's all of us. It's 459,000 of us that are really going to be hurting. So I wasn't expecting to have that emotional reaction, but I felt the weight of the decision that's before the whole parish.
Well, and because I worry that there's confusion in the messaging.
Yeah.
Because what the mayor's office is trying to do is just take a little bit of share from 3 entities.
Absolutely.
And what's at stake here is if people don't like that sharing, they run the risk of defunding those entities entirely.
Yeah.
So and that's budget wise,
right?
It's a bad enough scenario.
It is.
But if you're talking about like kicking the legs out from under the Council on Aging or the library, I mean, or mosquito abatement for that matter.
Yeah.
Like
it's difficult all the way around. But I'll tell you, I keep telling people, Thrive, this plan is not perfect, but nothing is perfect.
Right.
If you've followed my little 5-year political career at all, I have talked a lot about the malapportionment of tax money.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that we lock things up in dedicated funds. We've talked about it at the state level. 90% of the funds that come into the state every year are locked up. The legislature is dealing with 10% of the funds every year.
Mm-hmm.
And same in this budget.
Yeah.
$1 billion budget. 70% is locked up in dedicated funds We only have 30% of the funds to fund the rest of the government, the constitutional offices, the services that people need. I will tell you this, in East Baton Rouge Parish, the things that you love and you think are well done, BREC, the library, mosquito abatement, those things, they operate well, they look great, their facilities look great because we fund them.
Right.
And in some cases, you might argue that we overfund them. And when you see the things that have suffered, it's your drainage maintenance, it's your general maintenance, it's your landscape. It's because they haven't been funded.
Right. And one of the things with the library specifically is like they're in a position right now. They have been good stewards of the dollars.
Absolutely.
So that they're in a position to pay cash for everything like moving forward. What they budget out 2 years, I believe, where they don't have to worry about it.
Yes.
Well, the rest of us do though. So
Right. That's right. That's right.
and
That's right. Yeah. That's right. That's nobody.
it's one of those great
Yeah.
work if you can get it sort of scenarios.
Absolutely.
It's like listening to the people who called Dave Ramsey after winning the lottery.
Absolutely. And look, I mean, Ryan, I am truly a Republican. I believe in smaller government. I believe in being more efficient or as efficient as possible. Are we making adjustments? We are. One of the contracts we passed last night for GPS tracking on our fleet. It is a savings. I mean, we are working hard across the board to find savings everywhere we can find them. You know about the health insurance stuff we did. There's more things that we need to do as a council. There's more things that the administration needs to do, but government doesn't move quickly. So, my father worked for IBM for 35 years. There was an early retirement package at one point. He tried to take it. They classified him as a critical resource. Says you cannot retire. We don't give you this package. 6 or 7 years later, his division in IBM was eliminated and he was gone in an instant. We can't, that doesn't work that way in government because we have a civil service system.
Yeah.
So, when we talk about 233 positions being cut, that is moving people around. That is not necessarily keeping people in their current jobs. That is making massive adjustments to the staffing within where people work and how people work in the city parish. And then again, none of this is easy because it's government.
Right. Councilwoman Laurie White Adams is our guest. We're talking about the budget this morning. Okay, so the 233 jobs, that's your number one priority. What was the second thing that stuck out to you?
So I think the biggest thing that I want people to realize is, we're talking right now, we were talking about filling a 15 million or 19 million hole. The hole is 50 million, right? So all of these entities that or most of these entities that are looking at cuts for this year, they had cuts already last year. So you're seeing departments, the total over 2 years, it's 23, 24, 25% cut.
So
these are very, very difficult cuts to make. People ask this question. This is a reasonable question. City of St. George incorporates those funds, leave those 86,000 or 90,000. I'm not sure what the population is right now, or in that city, and they leave, there should be equal savings. When my kids moved out of my home, there were 4 people living in that home. When each one of my children moved out, I did not capture a 25% savings. There was a savings, but it wasn't 25%.
I love that comparison. That's why is this the first time I'm hearing that comparison?
I can't. I'm a mom. I just think about life through the lens of a mom and my own personal home budget.
Well, it makes sense because we always talk about if I can balance my budget at home, why can't the government balance its? Well, the same is true there. Is if you don't see the savings when your kids move out,
a lot of it
equal to the cost of when your kids live at home. That's
a lot of
very,
it
very true.
Now, a lot of it translates.
To go along with that, though, I personally believe what we're experiencing right now is the harsh reality of doing this wrong for an entire generation. Is that
yes and no. I mean, it's hard for me to look back. Could we have done things? There are a lot of places where there were off ramps and things could have been done differently. I think it's very, very, very unfair to blame this current mayor president for the situation, or even the last mayor president for the situation. Human mistakes have been made, and we've also had things foisted upon us. I mean, Katrina, Gustav. We've had a lot of natural disasters that have dramatically impacted the landscape of
I understand that, but they've also been Senator John Kennedy. I'll never forget this quote. He once said, talking about the natural disasters, he says, natural disasters like crack cocaine, and we're all a bunch of junkies. And he's right in that when we see the funding come in, and one of the reasons it's hitting so hard this year is because the American Rescue Plan dollars are going away.
Oh, for sure.
So
Absolutely. And I'm really not talking about that with regard to funding. I'm talking about that with regard to demographics.
okay,
I mean, how
Okay,
many
yeah.
small, sleepy, mid-sized southern towns, double overnight? Now,
Right.
did our real residential population double overnight after Katrina? No, but was our life changed forever, structure-wise in this city,
Right.
parish? And that takes decades to recover from. The other thing that I think really strikes me is that we're living, and I'm not criticizing anybody or anything. These are things that we're living in a low trust society. We're living in a low trust time. The post Watergate world, trust has eroded and eroded and eroded, and now with the advent of social media, there's just so many things that are constantly, eroding public trust. And of course, again, people are imperfect, right?
Right.
And people in office are imperfect as well.
Well, let me jump to the bottom of the page on that and try to assume what you're talking about is that if we're in a low trust world, then things have to be dedicated because we can't trust it to be open to the whole budget.
And people are suspect of propositions, right?
Right.
Because they're like, I just don't trust. And I get it. I understand. I mean, I read a lot of documents to make sure that the things that I'm being told are really what's on the paper. I understand that people are worried that somebody's trying to get something over on them. All I can tell you is this plan is transparent. It is, there are literally flowcharts circulating around the city that show, and it's wonderful that people have done this. I mean, it's very helpful to us where the money's coming from, where it's going. I understand that in a low trust society, it's very hard to make big changes, and it's very hard to do something different, right? Because the trust is low, and we're asking the citizens of this parish to do something, transformational, not to fill a $50 million hole, but to fill, maybe a little over half of it.
Right.
So, I mean, are we continuing to look for savings? Are we continuing to be more efficient? Can we get better at what we do? Yes. Can we do it in a day or two? No, it's going to be incremental, but we're trying.
Well, yeah,
we're working.
and like you said, there's no plan that's perfect, but
None.
if you could take a big chunk out of it, especially with paying down debt, I mean, if you take a big chunk
Absolutely.
out of it, to set us up to where tomorrow's bills are smaller, that's a huge.
Absolutely.
This
Well,
will
and
pay dividends.
and this proposal helps us, manage the current crisis, and be able to function so that we can move forward to continue to find efficiencies and ways to do things better. If it doesn't pass, then we're just managing very, very, very
Now,
difficult
that ginormous
circumstances.
book that you have there,
Yes.
that is based off of Thrive not passing.
Yes,
correct?
100%.
Okay.
Absolutely.
All right.
We have to present a balanced budget,
Yeah. So
and we can't make assumptions.
No, we get 2 minutes left.
I'm
so
sorry.
No, it's all good. Within those 2 minutes, I want to talk about within these numbers, like how close can we stay to these numbers, even if Thrive does pass, to where we could do ourselves even greater good?
Absolutely. So, it's so interesting to me. So we're going to start budget hearings next Wednesday after zoning,
Okay.
after council zoning. So, some 4:30 or 5 o'clock Wednesday afternoon. And I'm going to let you know when the budget hearings are. I hope that people will come and participate and hear. So either way, if Thrive doesn't pass, we're going to be just talking about what these cuts look like in these agencies.
Right.
We're going to be talking about how does the 19th JDC with maybe the highest workload in the entire state, or I think it probably is the highest workload. How do they sustain, at $1.3 million worth of cuts,
Right.
when they're people intensive? If Thrive passes, then we've got to figure out, how do you,
And if you're going to have a 19th
restore-
JDC, you have to have a public defender's office as well.
absolutely.
and
And
so-
that's a critical piece. The DA never make a mistake in thinking that it's just your police,
Right.
that is your law enforcement or your safety complex.
Mhm.
It is your court system, it's your DA, and it's your public defender as well that are part of your
We've
safety
got
complex.
30 seconds left. Next time we have you on, can we dive into what the constitutionally protected offices are?
Oh my gosh,
What the
absolutely.
actual absolute requirements are? We know a few of them, but I think once you start to dig into the deep
Absolutely.
weeds, we start to understand why.
Animal control. We have to do animal control, and we contract
Do we?
with Capital. We do.
I
we
can't just hire a guy named Cleet.
we can't talk about that if you do, but I know nothing. I know nothing. But animal control, we have to provide that service.
She is Councilwoman Laurie White Adams. We're going to pick the conversation up at a later date. We always appreciate the time.
Thank you, Brian.
Oh, I hate that it only scratches the surface. And I told Jen this the other day.
Yeah, I know. Well, and I was trying to not
737 Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, Mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. Got to get you to Crime Stoppers in just a quick second. But first, I got to remind you, Talk 107.3 is your new home for Ken Trahan's original prep football report. Get live in-game updates, a full statewide scoreboard, and check-ins with correspondents from every corner of the state. Friday nights this fall from 6 to 11 p.m. That is not a typo. That is a 5-hour-long show. It's Ken Trahan's original prep football report, presented locally by Dr. Pepper and the Harold Perkins Jr. Tuition Program on Talk 107.3 FM. Time for Crime Stoppers. Let's go. Well, apparently we actually need traffic stoppers this morning because Lieutenant Don Capola is stuck in traffic. How are you, man?
Hey, good morning, Brian. How are you?
I'm doing well. Before we dig in here, speaking of the traffic, let me get this little note out there and shout out to State Senator Valerie Hodges for letting us know Old Hammond Highway is closed at Buckingham. They are rerouting traffic through the subdivision. So as the problems continue to mount, the problems continue to mount. So where are you at?
And so I'm just stuck trying to get there to see you. But before you put me on air, JP and I were talking, and I think what the issue is, everyone who didn't wish you a happy birthday is trying to get to the station to wish you a happy belated birthday.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much. And no, that is absolutely not the case. Because literally my Facebook was so overrun on Sunday. It's a dopamine release, man. And it's like you open up your Facebook on your birthday and it's this just deluge. Loved it.
Well,
then I went back through and asked why those people.
Happy birthday.
Well, thank you. All right, who are we looking for today? We catching some bad guys or what?
So we have plenty. We're going to start off on our Facebook page, Capital Region Crime Stoppers Facebook page. Ascension Parish Sheriff's Office had a missing 13-year-old. They posted a few days ago. Got word last night that she was located, safe and sound.
Okay.
So that's always a good thing.
Yes, it is.
And while we're on missing, Zachary Police Department still Madison Allen. She has been missing for some time through the Zachary Police Department. Last known to be in the area of Zachary. She's 32 years old, white female. So if there's any information anybody has on the whereabouts of Madison Allen, please call Crime Stoppers, call the Zachary Police Department. I know her family is very concerned. We stay in touch with them on a regular basis, but try to get the location of Madison.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So while we're still on the Facebook page, Brian, Baton Rouge police are attempting to identify an individual believed to be involved in a card skimmer incident.
Yep.
This occurred at a gas pump, the gas station along Airline Highway within the city limits of Baton Rouge. There's also a vehicle, commercial truck, that he was believed to be occupying at the time. Great picture of this individual. This is something we talk about time and time again, especially with the holidays upon us. These scams and these incidents, they're all the time, but being that the holidays, it seems like they seem to ramp up more. So, be extra careful, stay vigilant. And if something doesn't seem right, then a lot of times it's not. So
we've got Lieutenant Don Capola on with us, talking about this is our Crime Stopper segment. Talking about this guy who put the skimmer on a gas pump. Now, Don, is it standard to not say which gas station, because you just says a gas station on Airline Highway?
Yeah. So I chose not to put that business out, but.
So
this is something, Brian, that whenever you pull up to the gas pump or use these cards, and we recommend, using a credit card if you're going to pay at the pump versus a debit card. If you want to pull on the or manipulate the system to make sure that nothing comes apart, make sure it is secure to the pump.
Yeah.
A lot of these, or they just kind of pop on, and again, we talked about it before. When you're pumping your gas, make sure the nozzle that you're using for your vehicle is the one belonging on your side of the pump. Sometimes they switch these around where you put your information in, no gas is coming out because they switched them around. So somebody else is filling up on your dime.
Well, the reason I ask about, and I don't want to narrow it down to name one business, but airline's a pretty decent stretch through town here. I mean, basically from when you get off the river all the way through just about Jefferson Highway, or maybe, I-12, that's all within the city there. So that's a lot of, that's a lot of ground to cover. Would
it is a lot of ground to cover. And the messaging we want to get out is these individuals are placing these devices on these pumps in order to manipulate the system and then gain your personal information and then use that information for whatever they want to use it for. But the good practice is just to be aware that these are out there.
Okay.
And if something looks like it doesn't belong, then simply go to another pump or go to another station. Yeah.
We got Lieutenant Don Capola on with us. Yeah, I mean, it's a matter of, for awareness purposes, absolutely, and we always should be on a heightened alert for that. That's a time where, look, I know I'm borderline paranoid with it, but for catching this dude, I don't. It's
a great picture, and
it is.
Somebody out there is familiar with what's going on, and it doesn't necessarily have to be him. If you know of individuals doing this, then let us know so we can get ahead of it, and before you or someone becomes a victim.
Yeah, I mean, aside from the picture of the guy himself, I mean, with this zip up sweater jacket, whatever, which, my goodness gracious, the 90s called and they want their jacket back. But between the picture of this guy and the truck that he's driving, I think the truck is very noticeable. It's with the way the paint job is, and it looks like there's added black paint covering up lettering and whatnot. It's a very recognizable truck.
Very, very much.
What else we got going on?
Pick up the phone.
Yep.
So we East Baton Rouge Sheriff's Office is looking for an individual that burglarized the dentist office. Great picture of him with a bike. He's actually looking up at the camera, posing before he commits this criminal act.
Oh man!
So
look
if anybody
at that
has
picture.
any information, I mean, it's a great picture. Not sure if he was getting a head start on a cavity repair, but
so this is off of Bluebonnet Boulevard. Happened back on November 2nd. And yeah, boy, if you know this guy, you're going to recognize him pretty much immediately with this picture here. So what did he do?
So,
he broke into a dentist's office and took what?
I don't have all the information on what he took, but I can tell you he wasn't waiting on the dentist to arrive. So if anybody has any information on this individual or anybody on our Facebook page, our website, it's one simple call, 344-7867. Go to the P3 Tips app, our website, Crimestoppers225.com, and each way I listed, you remain anonymous. If your information assists investigators in the identification or apprehension, you're eligible for a cash reward.
344-STOP is the phone number. The P3 Tips app is unbelievable. Download it, and it's better to Have it, not need it, then need it, not have it. We got Lieutenant Don Capola on with us for Crimestoppers. Scroll back up on the Facebook page there. Any updates on these two from Walker?
So no, those are still outstanding as well. Again, great pictures. Surveillance cameras are top notch, and you would think that before these individuals commit these crimes, they would realize that there's very few places you go today that you're not on camera. So I know these two are still wanted by the Walker Police Department. They have some distinguishing tattoos outside of the great photographs of they have of themselves. So if anybody has any information on the identity of these two, give us a call.
No, absolutely. It's a man and a woman, and the man is in an LSU number 18 jersey. That is not Garrett Nussmeier. Don't let the jersey fool you. And making their way through what appears to be it's like a quick stop type grocery store. That's not a name brand, but a smaller grocery store. And when you see him by the checkout line, by the scanners, the tattoos on this dude's arm, Don, man, that's a lot of ink.
That's a lot of ink. A lot of ink.
Different skulls, different formations, different. Oh man, this guy's got some artwork done. Meanwhile, the girl, she's really lacking. She's only got a couple of tattoos by her wrist. Really, she needs to step up her game, I would say.
Well, maybe so, and maybe look for a new artist. Not sure if JP can help out with that.
JP can most certainly help out with that for sure. He knows the guy. He can put him in touch with somebody. In the meanwhile, what else we got? We got literally 1 minute to go here.
Yeah, so I want to talk about our Beyond Bars Choices and Consequences initiative through Capital Region Crimestoppers. We were at Livingston Alternative and Pine Ridge Alternative Schools last week, and talking to these kids, and what this is through Capital Region Crimestoppers, we have 2 Department of Correction inmates who are currently still incarcerated, and we talked about getting them on the show, Brian, and I would still like for that to happen. But just these individuals telling their stories to these kids, and as we talk about every week, the victims and offenders of these crimes are getting younger and younger, and we hope that hearing the stories and what they have been through will help deter some of these kids from committing these senseless acts of violence.
We will absolutely make that happen. He is Don Capola. We do Crimestoppers this time every week. Always appreciate it, Don. Talk to you next week.
Have a great day.
You too. Here's your money now. All right, I haven't jumped in the app yet, or I haven't jumped in the chat yet this morning. I probably should. Oh, anything going on? Anybody ripping me a new butthole? Well, oh, Keith, I didn't know about this story. In a widely reporting hunting accident in December 2018, former LSU offensive lineman Matt Branch was accidentally shot by a dog. Really, you gotta watch these dogs, man. They have this reputation for being loyal, but they will shoot your ass. Keith says, Brian, what if we find out that pumping carbon into the ground under bodies of water creates an environmental disaster? I'm glad you brought that up, Keith. When you pump something a mile under the ground, you've got this pressure that squeezes down on it, especially with our makeup of our geological makeup. Okay. it's not as dense as water, but it is dense, and it creates pressure that holds it down there. It physically can't come back up unless you suck it back out again. I'll give you an example of the pressure. You know when some really, really rich people want to hop inside a Dr. Pepper can and go find the Titanic? That kind of pressure. That's what we're talking about here. A mile underground, it holds it down in its gaseous form, and basically it solidifies over the course of time just to become carbon. So, no, there is no environmental disaster over the last 30 plus, maybe 40 years that we've been doing this when we suck out oil and put the carbon down there in its place. So I don't know how big of a sample size we need, but what's out there right now says that stop believing the crap that says there's going to be an environmental disaster. There is none. And I would like to know what kind of environmental disaster would happen with carbon under a mile under the ground. That's Byron says, I think the best way to predict if a disaster is likely to happen is to look at the history. Carbon sequestration has been occurring since 1996, and I can't find any examples of an environmental disaster related to it. That is correct. That is correct. It's just, and I apologize if I get testy about it, but it's infuriating to hear like all these side chasing. Oh, but what about this? When they've all been addressed before. Like I've talked about the environmental disaster into this ad nauseum. No, you cannot turn Lake Maurepas into a Topo Chico. Pressure. There's pressure under the ground. The pressure holds it down there. Blues. LandmarkBankLA.com. LandmarkBankLA.com is the home base online for Landmark Bank. Landmark Bank was founded in 1897 as a community bank, and they've got locations in a number of communities around the greater Baton Rouge area. In fact, if you go to LandmarkBankLA.com and you click the About Us tab, you'll find locations and hours. Clinton, Greensburg, Zachary, Denham, Bruley. That's where you're going to find Landmark Bank. It's important to them to remain a community bank. And when you have a community bank, you don't just have a bank, you have a banker, someone else who is a member of your community. And when it comes to your personal banking, it's someone who, knows you and knows your wants, needs, dreams, and desires. Where do you want to be in 10 years? Where do you want to be in retirement? What's it looking like for, not just checking and savings, but investing and planning? On the business end, I don't even need to tell you about the advantage of having a community bank on the business end. Small business owners remember PPP? Yeah. You want that person on your side. You want your banker on your side. Learn more at landmarkbankla.com. Heard the story in our news at the bottom of the hour from our news partners at Louisiana Radio Network. The American Society of Civil Engineers is out with their quadrennial report card for Louisiana's infrastructure, grading 10 different metrics. It gives Louisiana an overall grade of C- which is just below the national grade of C. Report card chairman Kirk Laurie says Louisiana's bridges, they got a D+.
More than 11% of the state's bridges are in poor condition, nearly double the national average. We face a funding gap of more than $9 billion for maintenance and capital improvements.
$9 billion on the bridges alone. And we know that for the entire DOTD, the backlog is what? I want to say it's upwards of 15 billion total. It's crazy. Roads and drinking water was the other one where we saw a D.
Our drinking water systems have been neglected for decades, as most of these networks were built before 1960. And it seems like these systems throughout our state are only addressed if something fails.
Now, we have the benefit here in Baton Rouge of having fantastic drinking water from the Southern Hills Aquifer. Now, there is a danger of saltwater intrusion. There is a danger that we use too much of it. You know, some folks could probably use river water for certain things, but they tap into the aquifer as well. But we here in Baton Rouge, we're not an anomaly, but we're definitely on the rare side to have the good water. Covington, Mandeville, that area, oh, fantastic water. Beta Springs, ever heard of it? Tedgeville Parish, Kentwood Springs, ever heard of it? I mean, we have a few pockets around the state where it's just phenomenal. And then there's other places where they're pulling water out of the Mississippi River, and you got to clean it, scrub it, clean it again. Basically run it through a CSI unit to get all the out of it. So you get a D on that front. The coastal grade was a C-. Laurie says that while the state has done more than 140 projects that have protected 2 million residents living near the coast, there's a lot more work that needs to be done and not a lot of money to pay for it.
There are still millions of acres that require restoration, and future funding is uncertain due to the expiration of the Deepwater Horizon settlement funds in 2031.
And CPRA had put together a brilliant plan to tackle that. And I want to say to the tune, it was a 50-year plan to the tune of $1 billion a year. So a $50 billion plan overall. Doing that off of memory, I might be off on that. But when the CPRA's plans are subject to whoever is politically in office at the time, that, if you'll pardon the pun, muddies the waters. C+ we got in aviation and solid waste. So I mean, we got a C+ in solid waste. Do I really need to include the punchline there? Well, I mean, here in Louisiana, we know our hour 3's next.
Gypsum Mountain.
The Gypsum Mountain.
And Uncle Sam, the mighty Gypsum Mountain, you know, the one that's 300 acres with the lake on top. You know, remember the lake started moving? It's there. The little area is called Uncle Sam. The mountain of gypsum is so high and so big, there's a lake in the center of it.
Really?
Now they want to take another 300 acres. But we found a use for gypsum.
What do we use gypsum for?
We use it for sulfur fertilizer.
Okay.
Yeah, it's phytogypsum.
All right. I'll be back in 2 seconds.
Yes, sir. Good. Now we can play with all the things. There you go. Mess with all the dials. Yeah, what does that do? That would be the launch code button. Don't touch that one. All right? Don't touch.
Is that an iPad in there?
Yes.
Because I'm looking. So I have the iPad.
See?
But is that the Logitech?
I have no
Because
idea.
I don't know, because I'm looking at some options. Right now I have a
This
Bluetooth
works.
keyboard for my iPad.
Look here.
But I'm looking for something
look at
more
that.
solid. Oh yeah.
Yeah, it works great. I've had many of them.
Man, I'm looking right now. Like, oh, okay, so it's solid. It won't. You
Yeah,
won't have
it's
to worry
solid.
about it just plopping open. Yeah, it's a
Uh-uh.
Logitech.
Yeah.
Oh, that's perfect.
It's good.
Yeah, I'm looking at some right now, some different options, and I was like,
First
man.
one I saw, Bud Corson had one when they were smaller in the legislature. You know, we used to carry these big folders with all the bills, and I mean, and he had an iPad. I said, "What is that?"
Yeah.
And we used to also carry the books with the legislators in them, and
Right.
had all that on one of these devices. I said,
Yeah.
"I gotta have one of those. Whatever
Oh,
that
yeah.
thing is, I'm going to get one."
Yeah, I've got
Right?
the 11-inch iPad Pro, and I use
Yeah.
a Bluetooth
I
keyboard
think
with it,
I'm
but
on
I
my
need a
third
folio
or fourth
iPad.
one.
Yeah.
They last about 3-4 years.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, and then you just have
Because
to.
my iPad's a 2020, and that thing, man, it's still kicking. Like,
Oh, yeah.
I love that thing.
Well, I feel it, but what they can do is just because I have my government emails, my private emails. See, I pay for this privately, but everything's here. Does that make
Yeah.
sense?
Oh yeah.
I
No,
can manage
absolutely.
everything,
Yep.
no matter where I'm at. So the only thing I use my office computers for
Mhm.
is to write PowerPoints,
Okay. Yeah.
and I'll often send the stuff from here to there. Because I grab and go because I do a lot of PowerPoints.
Oh yeah.
This week, I give 3 lectures this week. I'll be in New Orleans today. Economics Council of New Orleans giving a talk. And tomorrow I will address the lobby. So, but again, you can put these talks together so fast now.
Oh yeah.
It used to take months. I just want to hear what's going on, the state of the state, I guess.
They're good like that.
Oh yeah.
Yes, indeed.
So don't forget, it's time to get your Thanksgiving gumbo ready. Well, you might have turkey on Thanksgiving. We'll have turkey too.
We have my sister-in-law makes an unbelievable shrimp and corn soup to go on the Thanksgiving. Like, kind of
My wife does that for Christmas. It's a shrimp bisque. She does that every
Oh, yeah,
Christmas,
man.
and she makes. We have one of these great big Magna-like pots. I mean, the big one, right? She makes the whole thing.
Dang.
Oh yeah,
I had
look,
shrimp
and they eat it.
shrimp and corn bisque last night. Went to a friend's house. We had that. Yeah.
Man, you take that with some French bread.
Yes. The Yeah,
Like,
man.
We also make the French eggnog, which is a hot eggnog.
Okay.
It's a recipe that's been handed down for many generations. My great grandmother Selma Maringer taught my grandmother, who taught, my mother, who taught my wife.
Mm.
But it's the same recipe handed down. It's the old French
Yeah.
Creole, the Creole French way.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
It's good stuff, man.
Oh yeah. People say you drink hot eggnog. I didn't know there was such thing as cold. And first time I had cold eggnog, I said, "This is terrible." Right? Where's my French eggnog? Oh yeah.
Really?
And you have to be very careful with the meringue on top. You put a meringue on top of it. Oh yeah.
I don't know.
And it's served piping hot.
I'd try it.
It's delicious. It's incredible.
Mm.
But it's the old family recipe. And the big deal is making the meringue. You can mess that up so badly. Right? And my mother was, oh yeah, you better not get any yolk in that. You got to separate the yolk from the whites, and got to be done a certain. I guess I need to learn how to do that. My wife always does that, and my daughter. Now, my daughter and my son-in-law make a cold eggnog, and they make it, and you leave it in the refrigerator for a year, and you drink it the next Christmas. Oh yeah, it'll knock your socks off too.
Leave it in the freezer for a year.
Yeah, in the refrigerator.
Oh, refrigerator.
In the refrigerator. Oh no, not the freezer.
Doesn't go bad.
Not with that much alcohol. I said y'all not using the real good stuff. No, not the real good stuff, but the good stuff. Yeah. Oh, and of course LSU's playing Arkansas this weekend. My wife's a Razorback.
I did not know that.
Uh-huh. Yes, of course she's also a Tiger. So she did her undergraduate University of Arkansas.
I was gonna say, I thought somebody told me y'all met at LSU.
We did.
Okay.
She always tells she has more degrees than I do. She has a Bachelor of Science in Domestic Animal Biology from the University of Arkansas. I was a college dropout. I never finished LSU.
Neither did I.
Yeah, I just went straight to. So I have 1 degree, a doctorate.
Oh, I don't have a degree.
Yeah, well, that's a good time.
Well,
we could go back. Wouldn't it be fun if we went back to college now? Look,
like Rodney Dangerfield.
We could get. I would wear an L. You could get an S. You could get a U. We get some lawn chairs in front of the dorm.
I'm literally like a semester and a half away.
Yeah, but wouldn't it be fun?
No, totally.
We'd be terrible.
But
it'd be fun though.
Of course, when I went, they had books. They might not have books anymore.
Well, I don't think so.
They don't have books.
I don't know. They don't have a co-op bookstore. They don't have a Note Depot anymore. Remember Note Depot?
Yeah. Yeah.
I bought more than my share of class notes at the Note Depot. Oh yeah. Not ashamed to admit it.
Now, we bought our class notes at the vet school. From the vet school, you bought the notes, and then we would pool our money. The smartest girl in the class.
Yeah.
We would pay her. She would take notes, type them up, and put them in my mailbox.
See,
and that was it was $100 a semester. It was more than worth it. So you had the official lecture notes that were bound, because they were huge.
Yeah.
In vet school they were huge, and then you had the unofficial notes.
Yeah.
And then you had your notes.
Okay, that's a lot of notes.
A lot of notes, but you better read them all.
Yep. All right, hour 3 is here, y'all. 8:07. Talk with us with 3FM WBRP.
Already out of control.
Mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. We got Commissioner Dr. Mike Strain in the house. We're getting to his segment coming up in just a little bit. We're going to leave him hot, though, during this day in history. So let's get it. This day in history, let's go.
All right. Beginning in 1789.
Okay.
In a letter to Jean-Baptiste Leroy, Benjamin Franklin writes, "In this world, nothing can be said to be certain except death and taxes."
Okay.
Said that on this day.
We may be able to delay death.
Right.
Taxes. Oh, my goodness. I need that secret formula.
That's it. That's it.
I mean, can our taxes be prorated this year?
Well, it depends. You can send in your prorated taxes, but you
I'm
may
just
get
saying,
a nasty gram from the IRS.
We didn't get a full year's worth of service out of the federal government. Like, we lost a month, right? I should only have to pay 11/12 of what my taxes would be.
But more than likely, losing that month will cost more for the federal government to rectify.
Oh,
so
God,
you're gonna get a tax surcharge. I hate to tell you.
That's
right.
See,
You're gonna have to pay extra.
Not my problem.
Right? Yeah.
Not my problem.
Yep.
I don't want it. I'm not here for it.
Yep.
You were not here. You, as the federal government, was not you, but like the federal government was not here to serve me for an entire month. I think I should get my money back.
I understand. Well, I had that discussion with the IRS one time, and I told them, I said, "Look at my records. You will see I'm a very good customer of the IRS." She said, "Dr. Strain, you really are." I said, "I need some consideration." She says, "Okay, you can go ahead and make payment now."
Wow. All right. That's simple, huh?
That's simple. That's simple. Yes.
What else happened?
This day, also 1971, Steven Spielberg makes his feature film debut with a made-for-television movie, Duel.
Duel. There's a Spielberg I haven't seen.
Yeah, there's apparently it's about a tanker truck. Apparently some road rage. I think that's how it from what I'm seeing is
I haven't seen that one either.
All right.
The plot, yeah. So
it must have been fairly good.
I mean, he kind of took off from there.
He did.
1987, Sonny and Cher performed together for the final time, singing "I Got You, Babe" on Late Night with David Letterman.
Awesome.
Keeping it with music, 2002, Marshall Mathers, Eminem himself, releases the single "Lose Yourself" from the soundtrack to 8 Mile, and is the first rap song to win the Academy Award for Best Original Song.
Really?
Good stuff there.
"Lose Yourself's" an amazing tune, man. That's
Still
one of
so
those
good.
fire you up bangers. That's one of those like right before you hit the gym bangers.
Yeah.
Like, and not for cardio. We're talking about throwing some iron around.
That's right. Some good stuff, man.
Clanging the weights.
Yes, sir.
There you go. 2018, the trial of Mexican drug lord El Chapo begins in New York, where he is charged with drug trafficking, money laundering, and murder.
Hey, can we go back to music real quick?
Yeah,
take it back to
please.
1989. You know what happened on this day in 1989?
Tell me.
Let's see if Dr. Strain knows this. Who performed in the Superdome on this day in 1989? 89.
The Stones. Wow.
Yeah, Rolling
The
Stones
Stones.
hit the Superdome on the Steel Wheels tour in
Wow.
1989.
And you can imagine they're still playing.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're still touring.
Right.
Yeah. That's unbelievable.
Properly fermented. They're not going anywhere.
No. They're well preserved.
Yeah.
We've got to think about the world we're going to leave behind for Keith
Preserved.
Richards.
What I say?
Oh my goodness. Yes.
He's still here.
Unbelievable.
Anything else on this day?
Yes. No.
Okay. Birthdays. I'll begin with Gary Marshall.
Okay. That's
Jimmy
a good place to
Kimmel.
Start. All right.
And Whoopi Goldberg.
Yeah, Whoopi Goldberg's in that mix. She has a birthday. That is true.
Let's see who else I got for you. I know I had Gerard Butler as well today.
Okay. What's he in?
Gerard Butler?
Yeah.
Oh man. Well, have you ever seen the he's played in a couple movies. 300.
Oh,
300.
yeah.
Gerard Butler.
I know.
Yeah, I was gonna say if you've seen the new
it takes a minute sometimes. It takes
yeah.
a minute for me. All right. How about St. Augustine was born on this day?
Okay.
Yep.
Good one. Good one.
Also, I had one more. Or did I? No, I know I had one more. Dang nabbit. There it is. Robert Louis Stevenson, born on this day in 1850.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
British author.
Yep. Gave us what? Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, I believe.
I think that's right.
Yes, indeed. As far as deaths go, I got musician Leon Russell.
Okay.
And I have, oh man, this is a sad one. Eddie Guerrero. Remember the wrestler Eddie Guerrero? Passed away.
I do not, but
Had
I'll
a heart
roll with
attack
it.
in the ring. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, in 2005.
All right. Well, I didn't have any in that column, so let's skip to what national day it is.
Oh man.
Yep, go
These
for
are
it.
so
Bad.
They're terrible. You know, Dream Destination Day.
What?
Hug a Musician Day.
What?
World Kindness Day.
All right,
There you go.
We'll go with
We'll
that
handle
one.
that.
Kindness, yeah.
World Kindness Day is the one that's going to stick. It's 8:12 at Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Before we take our break, got to remind you about the folks over at Neurojust. Neurojust.com is where you're going to find them online. I would start there if you're thinking about. Well, let's put it this way: if you have not seen results from sit-down therapy, if you're suffering from anxiety and depression, and you've not seen the results from your sit-down therapy, and you hate the way prescription drugs make you feel, I need to tell you about the transcranial magnetic stimulation. TMS therapy is what they call it. It's sweeping the nation right now. It's FDA approved. It's non-invasive. There are no side effects. Basically, these are magnetic pulses that go at the part of your brain that affects mood. And they've got receipts, y'all. It's 70 to 80% show response, 60 to 70% show full regression of it. And it's an amazing therapy. They're specialized in it over at Neurojust. Learn more at Neurojust, neurojust.com.
All right, and I'm going to throw another one out there. Rouse's wants to help you cover the spread this football season. We're talking the ultimate tailgate spread, which includes party trays, dips, fried chicken, anything you want to throw on the grill, plus plenty of ice cold drinks to wash it all down. All you have to do is register now at talk1073.com for your chance to win. One winner will be chosen each week, and everyone who registers will be entered into a drawing for a grand prize of postseason tickets. Rouse's Markets, your tailgating headquarters.
Taking a quick break. Coming back, we've got Farm to Studio next.
Dum. Yeah, the Stones changed the world, right? Unbelievable.
Oh.
You know, if you ever listen to some of the original soundtracks or the original music of either the Stones or the Beatles, the stuff that you hear now, there's so much added to it. You know, you go back to the original lyrics and the original sound, and it's like, you know, that sounds better now. Well, it's so much, intensified, right?
Right.
Maybe we have better acoustics and things.
Oh, we got way.
So probably in live concert they were, much better than what
you were recording on tape, probably 2-inch tape, and you got to nail it. There's no, all right, let's start over. Now everything's just chopped. I mean, you look at they did Billie Eilish and her brother Phineas, like they showed her vocal process, and it's just clips that they just piece together. It's not one take,
Right.
It's just
it's unbelievable.
Piece, and just
maybe they can make me and you
like
sound
every
good,
line.
right? We could probably do a record and sound good.
Oh, absolutely.
Right,
for
with
sure.
A lot of modern technology.
A lot of auto-tune.
A lot of auto-tune. That's right. Modern technology. Yep. Mm-hmm.
And now you don't even have to be the artist. You could just AI generate something, put it out there. It's insane.
It is absolutely.
A friend of mine
crazy.
showed me some music earlier this week, and immediately when he sent it to me, something was off. And I was like, "That's AI."
That's AI. Yeah.
And I was talking to him last night, and he's like, "Hey, man, I was singing that music," and I'm like, "Oh, the AI stuff." He's like, "This is not AI." I was like, "I guarantee you that's AI." And he looked it up.
Number one song on the Billboard's country chart. The number one song right now is an AI generated song.
Really?
Yeah, I mentioned that to him as well.
So by doing when you say AI and generate, is there any humans doing the singing? No.
None.
Nor the writing, nor the music.
No. Well, I know you can ask AI to write a paper on something.
Yeah.
And it's good.
I even use it for graphics. I'm like, "Hey, this is my idea."
That's scary.
Yeah.
So how many young people going through school instead of writing their term paper has an AI paper? But if 3 of them write it on the same subject matter, that AI is going to be very similar for all 3 of them, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
And AI freaks out every once in a while and spits out completely false information.
Well, of course it does.
Yeah.
That's the problem with
That's why
AI.
proofreading is important.
Output is based off of input.
That's exactly right. As we say, trash in, trash out, right? Yeah.
And as I've learned, proofreading is very important.
Yeah.
Very, very,
Very important.
very important. Yes. Yes. hmm Yes, proofreading is very important, especially if you have
Like
friends
what that
try to
stuff's
sneak
spitting
stuff
out.
in just to get you, right?
Yes.
Just to mess with you.
Yes.
Yes. Uh-huh. Yep.
Yeah. 817 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along, broadcasting live from the 180 Pro studio. 180pros.com is the website. 180pros.com is where you're going to learn more about what they do over at 180 Pros. They're not your IT provider; they're your IT partner. They're not here to hit you with every nickel and dime thing they can. They've got simplified billing. When it comes to cybersecurity, when it comes to tech, when it comes to networking, you'll find that level of expertise that you expect, but you're also going to find a partnership. Their success is based off of your success. Learn more at 180pros.com. All right, it is time for Farmer Studio. Let's go. All right, Dr.
Morning, how
String.
we doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Man, it is a beautiful day. I'll be
perfect out
traveling
there.
to the big city of New Orleans today to address the Economic Council of New Orleans.
About what?
Oh, about all things in ag.
Okay.
And so it'll be really a lecture on the economics of ag and where we're at and all the many things going on.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of things are happening, as you know. You know that yesterday they went ahead and reopened the government.
Right.
You know, and the part about that is they passed a 1-year farm bill extension in there. So that's good. That's a big deal getting the ag programs back into play because look, we were struggling across the United States here in Louisiana. Our partners, as you and I were talking about earlier,
Mm-hmm.
With the Farm Services Agency, National Resource Conservation Agency, the Office of Rural Development, all those things that we work together, the EPA that
Right.
we work hand in hand with, U.S. Fish and Wildlife, all those entities were closed.
Right.
And so these many things that we're working on that have to happen in live time were delayed, or you had to use a backdoor method to try to get to someone to get something done.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very glad Secretary Rollins opened up those FSA offices about 2 weeks ago because that is critical because, farmers can take out what's called market loans, intermediate loans to bridge the gap when they get paid for their crops and when they got to pay the bank.
Okay.
So those bridge loans, we had to reestablish that. So because right now we're getting ready for next year's crop, and that's a big deal.
Well, and see, this is the part that I'm always fascinated by with this segment is being able to take what's going on like in the headlines, take what's going on in Washington D.C. and apply to our real lives, the actual lives of what of our neighbors, and because this isn't just about farmers, it's about everything that's in the grocery store.
About everything. So right now, as our farmers are delivering, and then you have all these different contracts going on,
Mhm.
and we have to get the money into the farmer so he can get it to the bank so they can reconcile their loans. But also, you think of the National Agricultural Statistics Service, NASS, and so people say, "Well, what the heck is NASS?" NASS is located in my office for Louisiana,
Okay.
and it is the NASS across the United States is actually operated by the ag commissioners. But right now, they'll be gathering data. The next set of data that we must have is called planting intentions. So in other words, we will understand what farmers intend to plant going into the new year. Based on those planting intentions, that will start setting up the parameters where we'll be forward looking at potential values of the crops, if that
Okay.
makes sense. And then, of course, then we will actually be doing planted acres. And then as the crops grow, we will have a weekly crop progress and condition report.
Mhm.
All of these things factor into the price the farmer is going to receive. Because when a farmer plants his crop, he gets his loan.
Mhm.
When the weather conditions are right, 40 degrees Celsius in the land, the right amount of moisture. And we normally try to plant 2 to 3 weeks in advance of the Midwest. That's a big deal.
Okay.
Try to get 2 or 3 weeks ahead based on conditions, and looking at what's going to happen in the Midwest is how we base how many acres of corn or beans or cotton, because the farmer's trying to maximize the amount of money he can make per acre,
Mhm.
and it's based on a lot of those different calculations. And so you're looking at that because, the farmers, they're very good business people. They have to. The average farm loan now is over $1.5 million. Average loan. Well, that is to replant and move forward. So all these things are happening in live times, and we take all of this data, all these reports, and another big report. It's called the WASDE report, World Agricultural Supply and Demand. United States and across the world, looking at every commodity, what the estimated demand is, the estimated supply, where it's at in the process, and the current estimated crop value. And so based on that, further has a lot to do on what we plant, how much we invest, and then for us, it's showing us how much we have to market and sell. So all that's very important.
When the government shuts down for over a month, how much does it jam things up, and how long does it take to clear the backlog?
Well, first of all those reports stop.
Okay.
So the data flow stops. Now, if you're thinking of a data intense business, so I tell everybody, agriculture is not 80 acres and a mule.
Right.
It is it is high intensity, a lot of data, a lot of things. Everything stops. So everything from my grain elevators buying that grain to marketing that grain, and then there are no new contracts signed for conservation. So that all the technicians, a lot of those technicians don't get paid. We fund about half of the salaries for the National Resource Conservation Service, and they write more than $100 million a year in conservation contracts, and it's cost shared between the owner of the land and the federal government with a small amount of money from the state. All of that stops. The farm loans stop. Everything stops. And so even the farmer can't think about this. You have a note to pay to the federal government on your loan, right? But there's nobody to receive the money. But your interest keeps clicking, right? Or, you need to take out a farm loan, or you're trying to buy a farm. It just stops the whole. And think about the largest industry in Louisiana, the largest industry in America, vital to feed America, Louisiana, and the world.
Right.
And it stops.
And when you say stops, not just the money, the actual planting.
Well, no, we're still going to plow ahead.
All right,
we're still going to plow ahead.
Pun intended.
But wait, but there's another part of that. So if you have to, if the federal government has to shut down, and you need a federal inspector to look at a barge load or a shipload of grain, now what? How many of them are working? It slows everything down, and we need to accelerate things and not slow things down.
But you're talking about on the harvesting end, though. If you're looking at a barge load or a shipload of grain, that's something that's
that moves you around. But it moves you around.
No, of course it does. Yeah, but like the calendar year doesn't stop. October does not happen. So does anything get planted within the time? Like they've got to keep it moving on the production end. Forget about distribution for a second. That's bad enough. But on the actual growing of crops, does it jam anything up on that front?
Well, it depends on when the government shutdown is. Right now with the uncertainty, our farmers were not able to get the money to the banks. The banks saying, "Look, you've got to do something. You got to get you got to get your balance sheet correct, or we're not going to loan you money." Now the farmer has uncertainty, right?
Yeah.
And said, how am I going to move this year? And then of course we are dealing with a large national grain brokerage that is currently in the state of insolvency, right? So there's some very big issues going on as we speak. And so, we're having to deal with that, and we're hoping that doesn't affect any more entities, right? But it's not that's what I wouldn't call it a trickle down effect. It's almost a train wreck, right?
Right.
So when the federal government shuts down, because again, they are integral partners in agriculture, forestry, aquaculture, international trade, everything. All of this is a big deal.
And you would think there's nothing as tried and true as the farming industry.
That's exactly
there's
right.
There's nothing that hasn't
generationally.
Generationally tested, proven over, time and time again. And there's no margin for error when it comes to if the federal government shuts down.
Can you think of the state government shutting down? Now, it didn't around the year 2000. It shut down for about 3 weeks.
Okay.
3 weeks because we failed to pass a budget way back when. And all state employees missed a paycheck. the state government completely shut down and did not reopen until July. And so that's right. So the fiscal year ends July 1,
Mhm.
but it was the middle of July before it opened back up, and it was a mess.
Unreal.
Yes. Yes.
Unreal.
Yep.
We got our ad commissioner, Dr. Mike Strain, and we call it Farm to Studio. Do this about once a month. Dr. Strain, let's talk about the sticking with the government shutdown. Once it reopens, how long does it take to get any kind of backlog cleared?
Well, it's going to take a while.
Okay.
There's a lot going on, and so we're pushing to get everything in motion. And one of the things, looking at the SNAP program, question is, how long does it take to get the money in the hands of the individuals that need it? How long is that process?
Right.
And I've heard different numbers. It could take up to a week or 2 weeks to get that done, because the SNAP money goes to the state, then from the state through Department of Health and Hospitals reloads all those cards.
Okay.
And then how long does it take, for instance, to get money and more money or get food in the food banks? Well, that's a 2-week process to get them the check and then for them to obtain the food. And if you look at all these other things with a backlog, it's going to take some time, but we have to start pushing and moving things in motion. Just think about this. How would you like to be headed out on a foreign trade mission right now and trying to catch an airplane? Oh,
right?
That's right. And look, if you're traveling internationally, you can't miss that connection.
Dude.
Oh, if you've ever missed an international connection, it's something.
I have not.
I have. Yes. My last trip across the pond into England, they wouldn't let us land in Dallas, Fort Worth, because they said it was too hot. And when I got to my gate at Dallas to go all the way to Ireland, right, the plane was just leaving. And I said, now what am I going to do? That's my plane going to Ireland. And they said, well, we can send you to England. I said, but I got to go to Ireland. I said, I know, but I can get you to England if you get on this plane right now.
Yeah.
So, and of course, I never check bags when I'm traveling internationally.
Okay.
So you carry everything just for that reason. So they flew me to London. Then from London, I had to fly to Dublin to get an Uber to Belfast to catch up with the rest of the group. So it was an interesting journey, but I got there.
That London to Dublin is surprisingly tiring. Because it's on the back end of flying over to London.
So it took me literally 30 hours
from
the 30 waking hours from the time I left here in Baton Rouge to the time I got to my hotel in Belfast. Yes. Yes. And I did sleep like 2 rocks. Right? Yes. I had a Guinness. I had to try Guinness, and that's all it took. Right.
Oh,
yes. And I was out.
Part of the slogan: have a Guinness when you're tired.
Oh yes, absolutely. But it was an experience, and I'm headed back on about the 7th of December back to London.
Okay.
I will be traveling with some legislators and with Drax. And that is the big company that buys all the wood pellets. We have a huge facility. Oh yes.
Okay.
We'll be meeting with the CEO of Drax. We'll be meeting with our administration as well. And we can talk more about that.
Right. We need to talk more about that. Got 1 or 2 more items on the shutdown as well when we come back. We do have to meet up with news, traffic, and weather right here. Don't forget that right now over at talk1073.com, we've teamed up with Duplessis Pool Builders to give away a dream pool. Every $25 donation supports dreams come true, granting wishes for Louisiana kids with life-threatening illnesses, and gets you entered to win your dream pool. Donate $100, you will get 5 entries. Do it today at talk1073.com. I had another shutdown question that I'm not remembering now. And it was a good one too.
Said most states will get SNAP benefits within 24 hours. Most states. That's what they're saying now. Tariff assistance will be in tranches.
This idea of the tariff checks has got me completely befuddled.
Yeah.
It's because on the one hand, if tariffs cause price to go up, I would like to be reimbursed for that price, and that's what these $2,000 checks would do.
Mm-hmm.
But on the other hand, doesn't that just make the whole damn thing a shell game?
It is.
Okay.
It's all about leverage. It's a leverage game.
It's the difference between America first and Americans first.
Yeah.
That's
Put the money, pay down the debt.
Yeah. I had another one on the shutdown that was really good. I got to write shit down.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's gonna come to me like at about 10 o'clock.
That's okay. We also got to talk about getting you turkey. Don't be a turkey. Get one.
Oh, we're saving this.
Don't be get it. Yeah, I say don't be a turkey. Get your turkey. Get it one. Get one. Well, listen to that. Huh?
Oh, farm bill.
Yes.
You said we have a year-long farm bill. Okay.
Yes.
This is what I want to address when we come back in. Okay. We have a year-long farm bill, but a spending plan that only runs through January 30th.
Except the funding for the farm bill is for a year.
Okay. It's simple clarification for the audience, but
yes,
it's
crazy, huh?
Super worth addressing.
But we're only open until January the 30th for the rest. So
right.
This isn't done yet.
Oh no.
Right?
No.
This is not done yet by any stretch of the imagination. But it's this full fiscal year funding. You know, the government fiscal year ends October 1st. The federal government is October 1st. So it's that full fiscal year funding and a 1-year extension of programs. But so that means it's only funded, if that's the true language, to October 1st.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh man.
So we had part of the farm bill in the OBBB, and we were going to pass the skinny farm bill with the rest of the programs, and then SNAP. So they took the farm bill, and when they passed the OBB, they split the farm bill really into 3 pieces, right? The majority of the farm bill, then the stuff that they didn't put into the OBB, and then SNAP. Okay. And so now everything's back in motion until October the 1st. Well, they have a 1-year extension. So we have from, but again, November the 13th to November 13th, the programs, but funding probably only goes till November the 1st, right? Their fiscal year ends in like September, October. Let's look at this.
It's the ends with the end of the third quarter. So October 1.
Federal fiscal year, October 1st to September the 30th.
Don't know if you've seen this yet. I don't know if we ever talk carbon sequestration.
A little bit. EPA grants primacy to the state of Texas, unprotected underground water resource. I would think so.
Class 1 through 6 wells, they have primacy in Texas now. So basically, everything that we had a head start on.
Big deal.
Oh, I know. Everything that we had a head start on.
Mm-hmm.
Texas is about to run laps around us because we got a bunch of Chicken Littles.
Yeah, federal preemption and federal primacy means something.
Yeah,
it is a very big deal. So when you talk about hemp, the growing of hemp, the states have primacy within the boundaries of the Farm Bill on the growing of hemp. Once it's grown and harvested, the federal government retained primacy through the FDA on anything made from the hemp other than fiber. Very big distinction there. And so the federal government through the FDA and DEA can set the rules. That's why you saw where they're going to restrict the Delta 8s and Delta 9s, because they retain primacy once the product was grown. That was the kind of the deal. So with us, we can restrict its growth, right?
Mm-hmm.
Restrict its growth as long as we have a plan approved by the USDA through the Louisiana Department of Ag and Forestry.
Well,
but
that horse has so left the barn.
Oh, I know, but they're fixing to reel it in. They're fixing to reel it in.
Got this press release day after tomorrow. Give me another.
Well, see, that is allowable. That's medical marijuana through the Cole Amendment.
Oh, not hemp.
Not hemp. Yeah. Not hemp. but it is medical marijuana, which is now. That being said, should they move marijuana to a Schedule 2 or 3, then the FDA could regain control of the compound. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Because once you have a patent medicine that is readily available, then they could rescind the Cole memo.
Right.
And that would change the whole world.
It's in a weird spot though, because
It
it's
is.
both a drug
Talk
and
about a weird
and a lot
spot.
of illegal recreational use. Like,
I know.
But like, from a pharmaceutical standpoint, it's the same. It will serve the same purpose as any number of other prescription drugs. But on the flip side,
but it's not a prescription drug.
Correct.
But once it becomes a prescription drug,
right?
Oh, it's crazy. It really is. Ambiguous at best.
837 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. We do farm to studio once a month with our ag commissioner, Dr. Mike Strain. He's in with us right now. We got so much to cover today, and there's no way we're not talking about Thanksgiving. It's one of my favorite times I have you on because everything is grown right here. We'll get to that in a little bit. Also want to talk about this recent cold snap, but we're not done with the government shutdown yet. Dr. Strain, I want to ask you about, so you mentioned at the very outset of this that we have a farm bill that is good for a year.
Good for a year.
Now,
so basically what they're saying, according to this, like second week in November.
Okay.
Right? The farm bill.
Right.
But the funding for the farm bill is good through September 30th.
Okay. So let's
their fiscal year. That's what they said. Their fiscal year.
Very clear, very definitive difference here is because the spending plan that was approved runs the government through January 30th, but the farm bill
the farm bill funding appropriation separately runs through September 30th.
Okay.
Right.
So if
because we have to have certainty.
Well, yes.
That's a big deal.
Yeah.
Right.
Uncertainty has been the buzzword of the last month.
Well, uncertainty causes inefficiency and lack of profitability.
And fear.
And instability.
Yes.
Instability. And when you talk about farming, that's something we cannot fail at, right? We have to produce the food to get it into the groceries and into the barges, the ships, and the trucks.
Right.
Right. So we need certainty, and we can't just keep piecemealing this thing forward because at the end of the day, Americans have not known hunger since really the Great Depression.
Right.
And that's something we have to make sure it doesn't happen ever again.
So to be clear, if end of January rolls around and Congress is congressing, they do what they do and they're nitpicking and fighting once again, and we look like we might be shutting down again.
There's going to be a battle in January the 30th because if you remember, the compromise is that the Democrats were demanding a vote on the health care supplementation. Yes. And so when we get to January 30th, I would imagine this is probably going to start as soon as they go home. Go back to Washington. As soon as they go back to Washington after the Christmas break, as they start looking at the funding bill moving forward, the next CR. Yeah. Remember, they haven't passed a full budget since forever.
No, I know.
Right? Since forever.
I know.
And they do it in these pieces, these CRs. And so, again, we can get back to have that debate, but there's going to be a fight. There's going to be a big fight. And so what I'm saying is you could see another government shutdown.
Now, okay, so let's walk that hypothetical with me. If we do have another government shutdown, the farm bill supersedes that, and things will be funded on that front. We won't have to worry about that from the USDA's perspective, like we're having to right now.
That's right. That is our understanding.
That's a big exhale.
It's a huge thing, right? As long as those federal employees, that run those systems, right, that work at the Farm Services Agency, Office of Rural Development, NRCS, USDA, as long as those employees are funded, right, to make sure that we have the employees. It doesn't do any good to have programs if you don't have any people to make them work, right? And you think about your big meat plants, your poultry plants, your beef plants, right?
Right.
Those inspectors are federal, right?
Yeah.
Those federal inspectors to keep the food supply in motion. So the devil's in the details, right? And so, but again, we have to make sure we keep the food supply in motion.
All right, one more on the shutdown before we move on to a couple of other things, and that's checking in on the food banks.
So we've been working with, Bruce Greenstein and the governor's office and our commissioner of administration, Taylor Barra, and others, we have been working with the LSU Ag Center to move additional monies into the food banks. About 10 days ago, we received $1 million more to move towards the food banks.
Wow.
But look, that's just a very, very, very small amount of money if you look at the size and scope of the food bank issue.
Right.
When you look at the loss of the SNAP benefits to almost 800,000 people in Louisiana, and you think about that, that's $140 million a month, right? So the food banks, there's no way that they can have that capacity. Their capacity, in a year is just a fraction of what that monthly capacity is, because you think about 400,000 families shopping at all the supermarkets for all the many things.
Yeah.
And then the food banks were immediately overwhelmed. So if anything you can bring, non-perishable items, rice, canned goods, whatever you can bring, or donations of money to the food banks, they do a tremendous job. And right now, as we go into the holidays, there's a lot of people that simply don't have the funds, for that Thanksgiving celebration. Food banks generally serve the people who are not on SNAP. It's people that are caught in a lurch in between. They do a tremendous job. And a lot of people, look, there's a lot of people that participate. A lot of the grocery stores, donate products. If you look at Capital City Produce and good friends of mine, they donate a lot of products. A lot of people do a lot to support food banks and also through your church. And so, again, we need to help them because they serve people that without the food banks, these families, they would go hungry. They would miss meals.
Yeah, it's astounding when it's amazing when you see it's amazing when you see what we're capable of. It's astounding when you look at the numbers that are reliant upon it. It's like,
goodness, yes.
We get so wrapped up in how do we feed 800,000 people that we never have time to address the question of how did 800,000 people become reliant upon the state?
And then
that's
you
a
have
separate battle.
People at the food banks, and it's 10, 15, 20,000 people you think at any given time are reliant upon that just to get them through. But then we've had some good partners. I remember Foster Farms called up and said, look, I got about 10 tractor trailer loads of chicken. You want it? I said, you absolutely right. So, or we will get tractor trailer loads of eggs, right?
Sure.
From like Jordan Eggs. They said, look, do you need some eggs? I said, absolutely. So look, I said, you just tell me where. I'll send some trucks. Right, we will pick that up and we'll get it to the food banks.
He doesn't have to get past the word need. It's, do you need?
Yes.
It doesn't matter what's after that.
That's
yes
right.
is the answer.
So we will pick it up. We'll figure out how to make this work.
Yeah.
Right. And and so good. So people have been very generous, very, very generous. And if you ever have time to volunteer, go down and volunteer at a food bank. And I can tell you, it will fill your heart, but it will also tug at your heartstrings at the same time.
Oh, 100%. 100%. We've volunteered at the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank. In fact, my wife, part of our job is teaching 5th grade religion. They did their 5th grade retreat over at the Greater Baton Rouge.
Oh,
Food
wow.
Bank.
Yeah. Isn't that an amazing
facility?
Amazing. And a lot of those
5th graders dialed
facilities,
in on it was amazing.
Jeff Bezos' wife donated like billions of dollars to all the food banks across America to help them to rebuild their facilities and to be ready for. And if you think about it, that was incredible, preparing them for the challenges that we've now seen.
Our facility here it's impressive.
It is.
They churn some food through.
But again, voluntary donated
dollars.
Totally.
Right?
Yep.
Want to pivot here. We got Dr. Mike Strain in with us. This is Farm to Studio. And I'm going to ask you a question I think I kind of know the answer to, but I feel like we got to bring it up every year because it is that time of year. Just had a cold snap.
Yes.
The cold snap that we had, was it a snap enough to cause any problems?
No, it's actually a good thing. If you listen to Dr. Dan Gill, the LSU Ag Center, he said this was a good thing because now it's kind of told the plants you need to start getting ready for winter.
Okay.
So I listened to that. But the other thing it did is that, look, it makes them, we'll have more sugar in our sugar cane. And so the plants are now getting ready for winter.
Wait, how do we have more sugar in our sugar cane?
Oh, because, all right, sugar accumulates under stress in the plant. So in the olden days, they would always wait till the first frost to start harvesting the cane because the frost would stress the plant. In other words, tell the plant, now you've got to accumulate sugar. Remember, sugarcane is a perennial plant, a 5-year plant, right? And so it tells the plant, you got to store some sugar for the winter, right? And so the sugar concentrations go up and we harvest the cane, right? And so
Okay.
a lot of plants will accumulate sugars when they have that little bit of cold weather. A lot of, your fall gardens, your winter gardens, they need a little bit of cold weather because
Yeah.
that's what accumulates the natural sugars in the plants.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. I did not see this one going that way. I see. I learned something every month. Every single month. I
But
learn
we like
something.
the cold weather, and realistically, at some point, we need a hard freeze. We need a hard freeze. Why? It kills off the bad bugs.
Yeah.
You think about the beetles in the trees. You think about the bugs in the rosocane. If you think about all these and these plant pests that come in, a good hard freeze every few years really knocks those numbers down. And so what we've seen is that we're starting to see bugs moving a latitude further north than they were 100 years ago.
Did the snap we just had, was that enough to do that?
No, sir.
Okay.
No, sir. No, sir. No, sir. That was just a little tease.
Yeah.
No, that wasn't what we would call a hard 3-day freeze, right? That was just, North Louisiana, it got down to, maybe 28, 29.
Right.
But nothing pipe busting.
Okay.
Nothing that hard. But it's a good time to go ahead and get started. Tell everybody if you're a beekeeper, check your bees, make sure they've got enough sugar and feed for the wintertime. Get your bees ready. And of course, make sure your hay's in a good place. You got all your liquid feeders filled up for your cattle. Just get ready because cold weather's coming. And also tell you, if you like me on the farm and you got water pipes everywhere, now is the time to make sure you got all your supplies and what you need. On your horse farms, go ahead and check out, where you're going to put your horse when it does turn cold and just get everything. Now's the time. If you're going to buy a heat lamp, you need to buy it now where you can still get them. Don't wait until it's freezing and go down a Tractor Supply because you won't find one.
Right.
Get your supplies now. Also, now's the time, while you have time, you check the antifreeze and all your equipment.
Yes.
My brother's doing that on the farm as we speak, and he is maniacal about checking every radiator and every machine, because we have a tester and, as he says, capping them off a little bit.
I would imagine there is no other way to be. In the meanwhile, we are due up for our next break. We had Ag Commissioner Dr. Mike Strain with us. We call it Farm to Studio. We do it once a month here on Talk 107.3 FM. All right, when we come back, we're going to check your money now. We're going to check traffic. We'll be back in exactly, I believe, 4 minutes from start to finish. When we come back, it's time to talk Thanksgiving. It's time to talk turkey
time.
It is
and gumbo
turkey time.
and gumbo.
Gumbo time, shrimp and corn soup time, and all the fixins and all the sides. We're going to talk about making sure your Thanksgiving table is Louisiana certified, at least as best as it can be. That's coming up right after this. It is 8:50 at Talk 107.3 FM. Let's get you caught up with your money now. 4 seconds short. That's on me. All right. I'll be back in just a second.
Yep.
Yo, what's up? How you doing?
Morning.
How you doing, Landon?
What's good? Good to see you. Thank you.
Absolutely. I got an electrician coming next week. I think he can install some dimmers. Oh, nice. Even on. Yeah, he might be able to install some dimmers on that one. Too. Unless I just want to keep these off. Yeah. I can close my eyes now. Yeah, that'll work. So what up? Oh, yeah,
Oh, Jen Finley said we have to behave. I said, nope. Nope.
Oh, hey, Joe White's.
So yeah, did you listen to WWL last week when I'm
No.
talking to Tommy Tucker?
No, I did
We're
not.
talking about how to thaw a turkey, right?
Oh, Lord.
And oh yeah, so I'm going on. Look, I said, look, you have to, put it in the refrigerator for about 5 days. Depending on the waiter, you can do it, in the sink. He said, well, says, we just put it in the trunk in the sun. I said, oh, Tommy, don't say that. He said, I'm just kidding. So we laughed about that again this morning. He told everybody, listen, everybody, I was just kidding. Whatever you do, don't thaw your turkey in the trunk of the car. That's a short enough way to have a unforgettable Thanksgiving, right?
Bro.
Yeah, don't do that.
No.
But again, thawing the turkey is a big deal. And you ever thinking that Thanksgiving's coming and what am I forgetting? What am I forgetting? And it's 3 days till Thanksgiving. What am I said, oh my gosh, the turkey's still in the freezer.
Yeah.
Right? And it takes 4 to 5 days, right? So what you have to do, you put it in the refrigerator, and then you have to kind of do that redo the calculation. You have to do the water thaw in the sink as well if you mess up. Right. And it's 30 minutes per pound, changing the water every 30 minutes in the sink.
But we got to do this on air. It's just on air. Ag Commissioner Dr. Mike Strain's in with us. We got one segment to go here. We got 4.5 minutes before we have to hand off. Yes, we have to hand off.
No, we're not going to do that today. Hey, Moon, we're going to bump you today. We got a lot to talk about. That's right.
We're getting to Thanksgiving. It is Thanksgiving time right now. In fact, if you have the Mathern's Rewards app, the special this week is on the Cajun Injection. So,
that's incredible.
It's the good stuff.
That is the good stuff.
I don't know. How did they do turkey? Bring that on over.
Yeah.
How did they do turkeys before we had a Cajun Injection? I mean,
well, you put them in the oven, and then you bake it.
Baste it?
Oh yeah, no, yeah, I can remember my grandmother with a baster basting it.
There.
Oh yeah, that's incredible.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. So Thanksgiving table. I want the Thanksgiving table to be Louisiana certified.
So first of all, we got to have some gumbo on the table, right?
Right.
Got to have some gumbo. And look, it's got to be seafood gumbo. And with seafood gumbo, you got to have some crabs in there. You got to have some shrimp. You got to put some oysters in there. You could put some crawfish in there. right? And it's got to be served over what? Louisiana rice.
Yes.
And then on the side, you got to have some baked Louisiana sweet potatoes or that sweet potato casserole. And of course, you got to have some of our pecans, those Bajerons, those Little Eva, the Cane River.
Mhm.
Got to have our pecans. And what I like to do, or I like to have my wife do, is use some cane syrup to try to make that crust with those pecans, like your Steens or your local cane syrup.
Yeah.
And bake that sweet potato casserole down. And it's almost a dessert, but it's on the.
It's a dessert.
It is.
It's
It
such
is
a dessert.
Incredible. And then, of course, to that you add everything else that we do. We often have some boudin too, as well. Because I have a very large family and it's out there on the farm. So we have the turkey, and when we say all the fixings, it's everything you can imagine. Oh, some beautiful boudin. My brother brings
boudin on Thanksgiving.
Absolutely. Oh, absolutely. That's part of them. You got to have the gumbo.
Uh-huh.
Got to have the boudin. You got to have the sweet potatoes. You got to have the Louisiana rice, and of course the turkey. And we try to have some local greens from the farm.
Mhm.
And I've been out there looking at them, hoping they'll be ready to harvest. So we will harvest those if they're ready on Thanksgiving morning, and we take a big cast iron pot, one of those big round bottom pots, and we will do a huge pot. Of course, you start off with a pound of bacon, right? And you start off with, a pound of butter, right? And then you cook down your
Bacon
green-
and butter.
Oh,
Yeah,
gosh, yes.
right.
And you cook down your greens in there with that. And, of course, we would have that, and it's just incredible off the farm.
Meanwhile, Dr. Chastain just punched his radio.
Oh, that's okay. That's all right. But look, you got the greens in there, right?
Oh, sure.
We got the greens in there.
Balances out,
Oh,
why
that
not?
balances
Yeah.
out everything, right?
When you're adding Steens
right.
to your
oh,
to your
my
sweet
goodness,
potatoes.
yes. But you got sweet potatoes too, healthy, nutritious, and delicious, and those pecans.
Is there anything on a traditional Thanksgiving table that doesn't come from Louisiana? Cranberries.
Probably the
Cranberry
turkey.
sauce.
Probably the turkey.
Oh,
right.
We
don't raise turkeys here. No.
Okay.
No. We have lots of broilers here and that sort of thing, but we don't have the cranberries and we don't have the turkeys. But everything else can be, how we say, fresh, local, and certified Louisiana.
Certify your entire table if you can.
That's right. But if you're gonna think about it, now it's time to get your turkey. Don't wait to get your turkey.
100%.
Because we've had a decrease in the number of turkeys available. Avian influenza has been a problem. And so our overall turkey production is down about 5+%. So that's why you can see the average price of turkey about $1.46. But look for the specials. You were talking about Matherns and Rouses. Look for those specials.
Oh,
grab those ads because they've got some really nice specials going on.
Yeah.
Get those ads and go down. If you buy, for instance, and it was at Rouse, you buy this Hormel ham, and you could get so much off of your turkey, right?
Yes.
Oh, yes, indeed. That's pretty brilliant, right?
It absolutely is.
Yes.
So that's why we recommend download the Matherns app. You get all the specials right there.
That's
He's
right.
Ag Commissioner
Get those
Dr. Mike
apps.
Strain. We do Farm to Studio every month. Always appreciate the time, sir.
Thank you.
Here comes the moon.
Oh, no, Moon. No. I bet he'll have a field day today. How about you, Moon? I hope you're doing all right, my brother.
He's been coming to town a lot more lately, which is so great. For as much of a lightning rod as he could be on the air, he's just one of the greatest dudes around.
Oh, I know. I've been knowing Moon for almost 30 years.
That's great.
When he was up in Monroe.
Yeah.
And if you ever been to his studio in Monroe, his whole studio is smaller than that was this, right?
Yeah.
And he'd sit here and you'd sit here and it was just a black guy. And it would amaze me. No notes.
Yeah.
No.
I know.
No notes.
How can
at all.
someone that smart be that dumb? No, I'm just kidding. He's the best. All right. Facebook, we got to get out of here. We will see y'all tomorrow. I have no idea what we have in store tomorrow except for Dearman's. I do know Dearman's is on the docket. Really? So Yellow Foodie Friday, Beef Industry Council. So we'll see y'all then.